Hey everyone, welcome to episode 35 of the Cool Water Show over here on Silent Podcast, where we're anything but silent. This is where we talk about anything and everything that happens in the Real Housewives universe. And if you've been on Twitter, if you've been online, you have seen that we got some stuff to talk about today. BravoCon was this weekend, and shit literally and figuratively hit the fan. Okay, maybe not literally, but came pretty close.
I mean, Ramona was there.
Okay. I meant what I said then. I'm joined as always by my co-host, Katie. Katie, how are you on this Monday evening?
I am doing well. Speaking of shit hitting the fan, there was a TMZ headline, which I believe to be fake, but it was about like Ramona sharding at a panel at BravoCon. And I was like, is this real or is this fake? Like, I really had to like read the comments to find out if it was real or fake. I still am not 100% convinced it's fake. So who knows? I choose to believe
TMZ
it.
is notoriously accurate.
It was like just a screenshot. So I think it was like doctored. Like, I don't think there was no article from what I saw.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't do research. I just saw the post and then read the comments. So I didn't search for the article.
Literal shit post.
It was a literal shit post. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well,
but I'm good. Cheers to us. We're in our mid-30s.
Yes.
We're having a beverage together to talk about the mess.
Katie's like, I have wine. I'm like, ooh, I can go upstairs and get a Modelo. So here we are drinking to the Real Housewives.
Yes. Yeehaw. Cheers to post BravoCon Monday.
So the first thing I want to ask you about, and I didn't even mention this pre-podcast, how do you feel about the New York City lineup that was announced?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk about that too. I'm okay, I guess. I'm going to pull it up and just say the names of the women. One of them, there are a few that are like kind of famous or like well-known. So the new cast is made up of Sai De Silva, who I don't know, Uba, if I'm saying her name right, Hassan, Erin Leachy, I don't know her either. Jenna Lyons used to be like the head of J. Crew or something. So she was like pretty famous.
Yes. Okay, my voice is like being weird. A lot of people were like, oh my God, Jenna Lyons. Oh my, like, that's the only name that I saw people pulling out of that lineup. Yeah. Everybody else was just like, and then there's like 6 other new people or 5 other new people or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and then there's also Lizzie Savietsky, Savetsky. I don't know how to say her name, but she's like an influencer. But she's like, I've heard her name before, and I'm not like an influencer follower by any means. Like, I don't care about influencers if you're only an influencer. But I know her name, so I feel like she's somebody. And then Jessel Tank and Bryn Whitfield. I don't know who the rest of them are, but I'm interested in Jenna Lyons. I mean, I'm curious. I mean, that's kind of like a badass job to just be like, I'm out, J. Crew. I'm the head of shit, and now I'm not.
I thought I read that she left her husband for a woman.
Oh, that's amazing.
Which
shout out to her.
Yeah, like as someone who's attracted to men, sometimes I wish I could just, sometimes it seems like that's a better choice, but unfortunately, this is where my allegiances lie. The heart wants what the heart wants.
Unfortunately.
So I'm just kidding, Lavelle. You'll never listen to this, but I like you. You're fine. So
I like you. I don't know. I feel okay about it. I'm gonna wait and see. I'm not even gonna say I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm just like cautiously. There's no optimism. It's just like we'll see what it is. Because I just feel like, I don't know. I was just telling you before the podcast, I was watching Bravo's or Andy's Legends Ball. They released it on Bravo last night. And I was just catching up. And in the beginning, they showed all these clips of like iconic moments from Bravo. And so many of them are from Roni. It's like Scary Island. It's Luann falling in a bush. It's Dorinda saying clip. It's Sonia. It's like, why don't we bring these ladies back? Why don't we just bring them back? Like, we tried this with the OC and it didn't work. So, like, why don't we just bring back what we know works? I don't know. But we'll see. I'm going to watch it.
Here's where I think it could be a good idea is that there's been quite a few people that I've talked to where I've said, yeah, I've now successfully watched every single episode of every active season of
Mm-hmm.
the Real Housewives
Mm-hmm.
and just have Dallas to watch. And people were like, yeah, like I've thought about it, but it just seems like so intimidating to get into, which valid point. I think this is
Yes.
a good entryway for people who are like, okay, let me try this. It's 7 brand new people. So I there's nothing that I don't know. It's not like because I didn't watch seasons 1 through 4, they don't get season 5 and that. And so I think in that way it's an interesting turn because you are able to welcome in new viewers who are like, okay,
Yeah.
here's a great entryway for me, and then can go back if they like it and watch other seasons and other cities and all that. So I do like that idea because I mean they really haven't done that before in terms of like, yeah, you have a new city, but especially New York City, I feel like just brings a different attention to it because it's New York City.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And I think it probably will bring in a lot of new viewers. What I feel bad though for those viewers is that like so many iconic Housewives moments came from past
Mm-hmm.
Real Housewives of New York. That like if you just are like, I'm gonna start fresh from here, you're missing out on literal pivotal Bravo history if you
Mm-hmm.
don't go back and watch the rest of New York. So I hope nobody falls into that trap because yes, there's a high barrier of entry. I always tell people if they're starting out to start out with like Salt Lake City because it's 2 seasons now 3, but it's
Mm-hmm.
an easy one. And then Potomac because Potomac is amazing and it's also one of the newer ones. So there's not a ton of seasons to dig
Yeah.
into. And then if you like those, like go to a Beverly Hills, go to a Roni, go to a Jersey, go to a Atlanta, whatever. But like I like people to like I hope that people do that. If they watch this
Mm-hmm.
first and they're like, this is good, then they'll go back. But then like they're not gonna like this new one as much. I hate to tell you. Because I know that no one there's no Ramona Singer in this cast. We know that.
Thankfully.
She's one of a kind. Listen, okay, so on this
Unfortunately.
Legends Ball, they were doing Squash the Beef, which is like a thing where Bravo Andy brings up 2 housewives and then he talks about like their beef with each other and then they have to squash it essentially. And he brought up Ramona and Teresa to talk about the wedding situation. And like Ramona's such a goddamn mess, but I was just like this woman is everything. Like she is horrible. She's a horrid human being. But she was just like, listen, I forgot she was a celebrity and I get invited to a lot of weddings. So I was so impressed. Like, I have to say, I get invited to a lot of weddings. And this invitation was, and I'm like, this is a monster person. But like, we need monster people like her on the Housewives. I feel like they're trying to just get a little too cute. You know what I mean? You
I
can't
can
strike
understand
golds
that.
with these people because these people got cast before the show was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
now you're
before
like, now it's at the peak, right? Well,
yeah,
maybe the peak
maybe
was a couple
post
years
peak,
ago.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
I think maybe we're like heading down the mountain a little bit here. But I think like you can't just like bring people in to like once it's already this huge thing. It's where we went wrong with the challenge.
It could be, or it could be we're also taking one of these series and kind of putting a whole group of women who are at the younger age range than the people who've been watching it for years. You know what I mean? Like if you're for me as an example, I think like I'm a key demographic here of like Bravo was not on my radar until 2, 3 years ago. And now as I'm older and enjoying these types of things more than I was whatever I was doing before, which like I don't really even know what I was doing before. Probably just like running myself into the ground, scheduling anything and everything where I didn't have time for television.
Wait, isn't
Um,
that you now?
well, now part of
Now
my
you just fit
running
TV in
myself
there.
into the ground is podcasting, so I have
Mm-hmm.
to watch the TV
Yes,
for it.
same,
So
same.
it becomes part of my schedule. Before I just would like tutor more people, so I like give up money
Yeah,
to do this, which like I guess I should think about that. But anyway,
yeah.
where I also think part of it is like I don't know. To me, a Ramona Singer, as awful as she is and like good television as she is, relating to her in the fact of like I don't know, your social views suck. Like you are
Oh yeah. No, she's a monster.
25 plus years my elder, where we're now going to get a version of the show that is more up to speed, like in terms of culture, of like where we're at versus who they are, who they like. I don't know. We've seen these women grow up, but like grow up from like 40 plus, where now we can kind of like see that with people who are our age, and that a group of them doing that, and not just like throwing one young person into the mix. Like I think of Crystal, of how she's always brought up as like the baby over there, and she's a child, she's a millennial. Like, okay, well, you know who's going to be like a big viewership audience if they aren't already or going to be soon? Are fucking millennials. So stop shitting on us, Kyle. Like, we're
Well,
not that
yes,
bad.
I have a problem with that for sure.
So I think that like this can also be an attempt at kind of catering to the upcoming Bravo fans. You know what I mean? Like, let's dabble a little bit. And so they're keeping their like safety net there. They've got legends. If this shits the bed entirely, they're just gonna take legends and put them back on and be like, sorry, it didn't work out. Like they're not being dumb about it. So in a way, like I'm excited because it's gonna be different, and I think can be a good way to get more fans involved because they've just been so intimidated by how much they don't know.
Here's my maybe unpopular take. Save Potomac. This is an exception. I never want a young housewife. I only want women that are like 45 plus because I feel like, well, especially the ones that have been around for a long time, but I just feel like younger housewives, like my age and younger, because I consider like Crystal's older than me and I still think she's a young housewife. I feel like maybe they're too aware of just the ecosystem. And I'm not saying I want the women to be problematic. I don't. But I'm saying like they're too aware of like the TikTok of it all and the Instagram of it all. And like just like I don't think they're going to fully immerse themselves in the experience. And I want a woman who's like a Vicky Gumbelson 60-year-old who's just going to be a disaster on TV and not give a shit. And like that's what I feel like the Housewives were. And I just feel like we have so many millennial aged women on TV in other areas. Like we don't really see women in their 50s and 60s on TV in like this complex like main character like vibe that they are in the Housewives. And like those Housewives are always the most compelling to me. Like I want to see how like I don't really care that much about the storylines of like, oh, my kids are going to college. But like, I just want to see like, okay, your kids are in college and now you're alone at home and like you hate your husband and like you've been with him for so like, how are you navigating that? Like, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see someone that's like 35 and is like, oh, here, let me, whatever. I'm 35 and I'm just going to like get on this TV show and use it as a platform to like be an influencer. Like, I don't want that shit. Give me a Vicky, give me a Victoria, give me a Ramona, give me a Vanderpump. Like, these are the types of women that I want to see on the show. And I feel like those have been the most successful housewives. Like, Caroline Manzo, as much as I don't care for her, was a great housewife because she was like an older, like matriarch of her family. And like, I don't know. I just feel like compare her to, who's another young housewife? Like, what was her name from New York? Who were you to get me wet? Kristen Takeman. Like, she was so boring and she was like on the younger end. Like, I don't know. We see them come and then we see them go, but the older ones always stick around and like give us more to talk about. Except for Potomac, because Ashley and Candace are amazing. Those are two amazing housewives.
Yeah. And I think part of the sticking or not being able to stick around is, I think if you are like Leah, for example, who was
Leah is the perfect young example that I should have used because she's awful. I think she's one of the worst housewives.
Well, I think it's also hard. There's a huge cultural difference at this point between the Luanns and the Ramonas and the Leahs. Like, absolutely huge culture difference. Like, I feel like now if you have money in New York City, there's a better chance that you are like a liberal Democrat and not like a staunch Republican. And that alone just like, I think drives such a divide that I think one of the reasons it's hard for the younger ones to stick around is because you're trying to fit in amongst a bunch of people that it's just, they're 20 years older than you. Like, it's hard to.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So, that's kind of like, that's why I'm excited that we're just getting 7 new all in the same. Like, I wouldn't have
Mhm.
wanted it to be like Ramona and Luann and then 4 of these new
No,
ones. Like,
absolutely not.
I'm glad that we're doing a full sweep and, like, not saying that it's gonna be great. I'm just glad that, like, this is existing and we're getting to see it happen. Because whether or not it sucks, like, okay, fine. I don't think that New York has been the best content over the last couple of years anyway,
No.
so the worst that happens is, like, all right, back to the drawing board. But
Yeah.
Reddit was it hated it. Reddit hated. There was
Yeah, I'm not
not a
surprised.
positive thing on Reddit, and I was like, "Oh, I'm actually, like, not on board with you guys, so I'm just not gonna
Yeah.
comment because I like my Reddit karma. Not ready to get downvoted to hell, so, but I do politely disagree. So
Well, what I will say is that, listen, I'm going to give it a shot. I don't think that these women are like super young either, by the way. Like they're probably like late 30s, early 40s. So it's not like they're like 28 like Ashley Darby
mhm,
was. And it's a diverse cast. And I love that for New York
yep,
because like New York was really, it was a problem that it was all white women for this whole entire time. And then unfortunately they brought Ebony in and she was faced with dealing with people like a Ramona and a Luann who are
mhm,
just not able to evolve in their thinking, who are problematic, specifically Ramona. Like I think Luann hopefully has learned and was microaggressing without realizing it. Not to give her the benefit of the doubt, but like I think she's made a lot of mistakes and I just hope that she's learned from them. But Ramona is just staunch in her like problematic behavior and will never admit to that. Whereas now we have a diverse cast. They're all starting together, which is great. We have apparently a queer woman on the cast, which is great. Like, this is definitely more representative of the city that I live in for sure. So I
mhm.
like that. I think they did a good job in that respect. And we'll see what the personalities are like.
I also think that for the I not as much as this cast, but the Miami cast, tracked a bit younger, and
Mm-hmm.
they've been phenomenal. So, if we can get the same type of quality out of New York that the Miami cast has been providing, because they aren't the same, like, age as a lot of the other Housewives casts. I mean, some of them are, but others aren't.
Mm-hmm.
We have a pretty wide age diversity range there, so yeah, I'm excited for it. Like, I'm ready. Like, give me something new, and hopefully it'll be an easy way to, like, get other people in on
Yeah, I agree.
our
I've
crazy
been
little
feeling the
universe.
weight of not having New York. Like, I've been feeling I've felt the void for sure.
Mhm.
So hopefully this fills it.
And Legends is still happening, so, like,
Yeah, they have not cast for it yet, though,
yeah,
apparently.
it looks like they're
Supposedly.
still in talks, I guess,
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's only so
but
many people they could choose from. So,
yeah. I mean, they're gonna pick Dorinda, but I we'll get into it when it's officially announced. I don't have time for
mm-hmm.
Dorinda today.
No.
Alright, so that was announced at BravoCon. A ton of other shit has happened,
Oh, yeah.
even today. So, Katie,
Yeah.
you are much more caught up on all of this than I am, probably because I was spending all day watching the episodes as
Yeah.
opposed to
Well, it's hard. I'll say it's hard to keep up to speed. For someone that like
mhm,
watches Big Brother and keeps up to speed with like Big Brother live feeds, that's what it felt like for me this weekend. Is that I just kept like refreshing the hashtag and being like, what's new here? Can I get
mhm,
a different angle of this? Like, what's going on? It was a lot. It was a lot. It felt like, based on some of the things I was reading, that BravoCon was, for some, felt very disorganized and crazy, and others felt like it was the best experience ever. So I guess it like just
mhm,
depends. But it sounded like if you bought VIP tickets, you weren't really given VIP access or seating, which is
mhm,
disappointing because the tickets are expensive.
yeah,
But the first day there was a stampede to get into the Beverly Hills panel, which is wild. Which, for as much as we shit all over Beverly Hills, like, people want to see them and talk about them.
mhm,
Like, it's the only, I feel like they have been the most talked about cast from BravoCon so far. And this
yeah,
reunion like broke like at least their season records for viewership. So I don't know. I guess they're doing something right, even though I hate almost every single one of them. I don't understand.
mhm,
I don't get it. But Lisa Rinna got booed,
good,
which is so exciting. Yeah, I know, but she played it off like it didn't really matter to her. She's like, "What? That's the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. I've never been booed." So like, whatever. She was a good sport about it. But it sounded like there was something, I don't know the panel, but it sounded like yesterday There was some kind of panel where like it was just housewives being asked questions or something. I don't know. There's so many panels. I don't know what was what. But Erica Jane got asked a question by a fan saying who's the next Bravo celebrity couple to break up. And she said PK and Dorit. And now they're going at it on Twitter and on Instagram. And then somebody else tweeted and was like, is this real? And then Sutton responded and said, this looks like fake news. So like, I don't know if this is real or not, but like Dorit and PK both responded. PK took shots at Erica. And she's like, wow, since when did you get so sensitive? I was just joking. So it's like, is there drama with this cast or is there not? Like, I just need to know.
Yeah, I saw PK's post and it was like, it almost felt like he was trying to write a poem.
Yes.
The caption.
He did a lot. Well, he thought he did a lot.
Yeah, it was bad. But something about ankles. I'm not sure what that was about.
He was talking about, because Tom, I don't know if you remember last season, we're like, oh yeah, he hit his head, but like focus on the ankle when he went to the hospital.
That's the point he was trying to make.
He was like, oh, Erica thought Tom was innocent. Erica thought Tom's ankle was more important than his brain. Erica thought something about the earrings. And then like, maybe Erica should just stop thinking. That's what he said. Something like that. He really went for it. Overextended himself, I would say.
Erica, if you're trying to give them a storyline for next season, fucking cut it out because I don't want them back.
I don't want them back either. So like, please, just Erica, stop. You need to stop because we don't need this to be the reason that they come back on the show.
I get like you are giving fodder for the people, and the people who are at BravoCon and the people following at home are the ones that live for that type of answer. But also, why are you doing it within your cast if you don't have like an agenda or just even answering it? Like if I was her, I'd be like, oh, clearly Erica Jane and Tom Girardi because our divorce is not yet official. Thank you.
Right.
Like the
hopefully my divorce will make me single. Yeah. Hopefully it'll be finalized. Yeah, exactly. I agree. There was a lot of like intercast drama with Beverly Hills. I think there were a few times where people were asked like who should no longer be on the show. Garcelle said Rinna, which is amazing. Good. And Erica said Crystal, which is quite interesting.
I can't wait till we talk about the first episode of the reunion because I have some opinions on all of that.
Yeah. DM says in the chat too, Salt Lake City panel was crazy. Yes, like Salt Lake City panel had like a full on like reunion level fight. So I feel like they need to just like release that panel out to the wild because like they were every single one of them was full on going at it with each other. It was like wild. Like Lisa and Heather were going at it. Heather and Whitney were going at it. Couldn't even follow what they were fighting about.
Probably that Lisa said Meredith fucked half of New York.
Well, I think that was part of it.
About her house.
Yes, I think that was part of it. But also Whitney and Heather were going at it about their friendship. It was just, and they were like, I thought we were good. I thought it was just, Whitney brought her phone. I was like, yeah, I brought my phone just in case. Like they really were treating it as if it were a reunion, which is my issue with Whitney and Heather, by the way. They just like do too much. Jen Shaw not invited to BravoCon.
Oh, I saw that comment. Like
went to Tamara's hotel room.
Jen Shaw
for some reason. Yeah, went to Tamara's hotel room for some reason. Tamara was like, we don't know why she came. She was there with Teddy, and Tamara and Teddy. Also, supposedly Teddy got into a fight with someone.
I saw that video, and I still don't know if it's real.
All I keep seeing is like, did Teddy really fight somebody? I heard Teddy got into a fight with somebody, and I'm like, did she or did she not? Can someone comment on this? Did Teddy physically get into a fight with someone?
Did you see the video?
No, I didn't even know there was a video.
Oh, so that's the thing is, I don't know if the video is real, but there was like a blonde woman who you would assume is Teddy and this like redhead. And I looked up the woman that they said it was, and she's apparently just like a massive Bravo fan, but also has money. She's like married to a race car driver, I think. It's like the one thing I like accidentally searched it in the wrong way on my phone. Instead of searching it on Safari, I typed in the search bar. Is it still going to be here? Yeah, Samantha Bush. Literally the only thing that
Samantha Bush is Bravo historian. So she's a Instagrammer, and she like a Bravo meme Instagrammer. And I guess she has a podcast, but she goes by Bravo historian. And Teddy was like beefing with her on Twitter for some reason, and was like calling her out. So then I heard like people were like, oh, did you really get into a fight? She hosted a panel somehow at Bravo, this girl, Samantha Bush. I don't think she's married though. I think she's pretty young.
Oh, I think I saw that she is married to like a race car driver.
Might be someone else. Because
Oh,
Samantha Bush is like pretty young. Like definitely like mid, early 20s. I mean, I have no idea, but she like looks
really?
young. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it makes less sense. Because there's a Samantha Bush who, American author, former model, but she's 36 years old and married to Kyle Bush, the race car driver. Has a website. Fighting Infertility. Would she be fighting infertility? That's her main book.
Definitely not.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, no. Bravo historian is Samantha Bush. Yeah.
Doesn't
so maybe
she
there's
look
two
like
Samantha
someone
Bushes.
Who would be like super into fucking Bravo?
Oh yeah, totally. Totally.
Okay. So maybe that makes sense why I couldn't find her.
This is, I'll put it in the chat of the streamer, but this is the Samantha Bush that is Bravo historian.
Okay.
And Teddy like fights with her on Twitter for some reason. I think Teddy like started. I don't even know. I wasn't following. She gets accused of like stealing content from people a lot, so like people don't really like her. So who knows?
Interesting.
Yeah. But there was something else about Beverly Hills, Teddy. Oh, Jen Shah. So Jen Shah went to their hotel room and like crashed some party they were having or something like that. And then was saying like, I'm not going anywhere, and said she wasn't going to jail. And then started chanting free Jen Shah. And then the whole hotel room started chanting free Jen Shah, free Jen Shah. And then Jen Shah started like twerking to people saying free Jen Shah. It was the craziest. There's a video of it. It's the craziest video I've ever seen.
I have to find this video.
And then Jen Shah was saying that she was supposedly like invited to BravoCon, but like decided not to go or something. Mm-hmm. But Andy publicly said she was not invited to BravoCon and that they're done with her story, basically. So like she's out there saying like, oh, I was invited, but like I didn't go or something. I don't know exactly what she said, but there's a lot to follow. I'm sorry I don't have a lot of details for anybody listening. There's a lot to follow.
I did see that Andy tweeted about that.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'd seen about Jen Shah.
Yeah. Because she was saying like, I was invited, I just like chose not to go or something. Let's see. It's on her.
So we've covered Beverly Hills, Salt Lake City. There was some.
Well, the big one for me.
New Jersey.
Is New Jersey. So, New Jersey had to have their panel separated because of the drama going on with Teresa and Joe and Melissa. Teresa had one, like, was on the later one, I think. And Joe and Melissa were on the earlier one. And they were, like, basically talking shit about Teresa, saying, like, Teresa made us have our panel separate. Like, it wasn't us. It wasn't us. There's also rumors that they came super late to their I guess they're, like, photo ops or something. And they came, like, super late, like 2 hours late or something, and only spent, like, 10 minutes with people. So people were complaining about them. But they were apparently very messy at the whole thing. Joe was saying, like, talking shit about Sonia, saying like she showed him her boobs or something. I don't know. That's one thing I didn't research, but I should have. But Joe was like going off about like Teresa and saying like this ruins their life, blah, 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 whatever. Then I guess I guess it was after BravoCon, Jennifer Aiden was coming into her hotel room with her assistant, like coming into the lobby, and Joe and Melissa were in the lobby together. And she was walking in, Bill was not there, and they called her like a dirty bitch or something, or called her like a wannabe or a dirty bitch. So she said, shut the fuck up, Jen. And like, then they started going back and forth with her. Jen and Melissa and Joe were going back and forth. This video of it. And then Jen threw her drink at Joe Gorga. But like, it was apparently like Melissa and Joe's entourage just started like verbally attacking Jen because she was just like going to her hotel room and she was by herself, which is just like wild. And supposedly Bravo's like really upset about it.
They should be.
Yes, she released a thing. Let me see. It's like, I should have all this research up. Let me find it. It'll be very quick. Shout out to Queens of Bravo for just like literally posting everything all the time.
it with the underscore. I'm with you. They say they're learning so much. Let's go drama.
Oh, I love it. Hi, it.
That's how I got here. This is how I've ended up in this place, is because I love the drama.
Okay, here we go. Got it. This is what Jennifer Aiden says. Okay, so I walk into the hotel with my assistant. We were coming from the BravoCon after party. Bill didn't come in with me because he was so tired he was sleeping in the room. I noticed that Joe and Melissa were in the lobby with a bunch of people. I walked in. The second our eyes locked, I looked away. I was minding my own business, walking to the elevator with my assistant, Erica. I pressed the button for my elevator. As the elevator opens, Melissa yells out, "Loser." I told her to shut the fuck up. She then called me a wannabe. I looked at her and said very calmly, "Don't start none, won't be none," which I can totally picture Jen saying, by the way. She's such a loser. She said, then Joe Gorga yells, "Suck a dick, bitch." I actually didn't hear him say that. My assistant heard him say it and told me after. I knew he said something, but I wasn't sure what it was. So I then told him to shut the fuck up. Then their talent guy that's up there. What? Oh, sorry. Then their talent guy that's always with them, Tom Minion, he comes toward me and said, You're low class and trash. I then told him, "Get the fuck away from me, stay back." And when he didn't, I chucked my drink, which was water with melted ice, by the way, in his face and threw my plastic cup. Melissa and Joe were both spewing curse words and derogatory things to me. They all came. There's a lot of spelling errors in this, I have to say. They all came top on me. I don't know what that means. Up to me is what I assume she's probably saying, but top on me is what she wrote. I was alone, I was vulnerable, and he took a space vantage of that, not advantage, a space vantage of that. I know if I was with Bill, she wouldn't have opened her mouth or said a fucking word. I felt threatened and attacked, and I defended myself. My adrenaline had me shaking through the roof. I have some footage of Joe cursing me out that I'm working with to get my story out there. It'll be out by tonight. And then there's a video. And her assistant put out a TikTok basically corroborating the story with the video as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and DM says Sonya and Drew got in an argument at the Atlanta panel, and Sonya got up like she was going to fight Drew. I didn't even hear about that.
Honestly, someone needs to. So Sonya, fine. I heard that Kenya was the worst in terms of the VIP stuff. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, I saw it on Reddit. It was like the one thing that I read about BravoCon, that she like people would come up and who had the VIP things, and she just like sat there and ate and was like, "I'm not going to take pictures with you." Just was like sad. Very dismissive of people, very rude.
That's disappointing to hear.
Yeah, I was sad reading it, but there was other stories from like other places that were like, yeah, that's not the first or last time you're going to hear that Kenya was not the most
I hate that. One. I love Kenya.
Yeah. Do we have other BravoCon stuff?
There's probably so much. I feel like there were like 3 things I wanted to specifically mention, and I don't remember what they were. So yeah, I guess it was really the Joe Gorga mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the big one. Like, Joe and Melissa Gorga feels like they're unraveling at the seams. And Teresa is like fully coming out on top in this feud, I have to say. Like, they are so embarrassing. The fact that they will not stop talking about this. First, he was like, "I regret not going to her wedding." Then he's like, "Fuck her," basically. It's like it feels like he's unhinged because they know they're going to lose their spot on the show. Yeah. Also, apparently on Radio Andy, I saw this on Reddit before, someone called in and said that there are screenshots that were taken, or photos, I guess not screenshots, a photo taken at Marge's house of someone else's phone with a text up basically confirming that Melissa had an affair. It was like a text with whatever Margaret's assistant's name is, who was like on the show for a minute. She was like a friend of the blonde, Margaret, and Melissa having a text message, like basically saying like, "This has to stay between us. Don't admit it. Don't admit it." And like, I mean, maybe they're talking about who knows what they're talking about, but like, that's what they were talking about. Kenya and
Sheree says that Kenya and Sheree were asked who they want on the show. Sheree said Kim, and Lisa Wu, Kenya said Nene.
Oh yes, Kenya did say Nene. And I saw a lot of people really
I say Nene. Sorry, I'm an idiot. I'm reading it phonetically. It's been a lot. I've done a lot today.
Yes, it's been a long day. I thought a lot of people were kind of coming for Kenya for that, because Kenya said it knowing that Nene would never be back. So it was like a safe, like fan-friendly answer. But yeah, I would love to see Nene come back.
She probably,
as long as she's authentic.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
But she did. I think she burned the bridge, unfortunately. Yeah.
All right. Well, if we think of anything else with BravoCon, we obviously have the rest of the podcast to bring it up. But I would love to get into the Beverly Hills
Let's do it.
reunion.
Let's do it.
So, full disclosure, if you listen to us, sometimes we're full notes. Other times we're full vibes. I watched our episodes we're covering today, starting at, I'm not going to announce what time, because if someone I work with is listening, but say I put in a lot of work today. So we're no notes, all vibes today. So if
Yeah.
there's
Going
things we
vibes only.
missed, apologize in advance. But there's definitely things I want to talk about. So first and foremost, Jamie Lee Curtis shows up.
Yeah, we didn't need this.
I did like that she came into it being like, what is this show? I have no idea what this is. And then gave credit and said, like, that was our biggest day ever in terms
Yeah,
of
the
raising
charity.
money. And so I think it can be very easy for someone who is as famous and established as Jamie Lee Curtis to say, like, thank you for, like, I came on this not knowing, and like, thank you for what you did for me. So I did like that. But otherwise, when I had seen that she was showing up, I figured it would be like a last 10 minutes type of thing, and we're not like leading the show off with this.
She opened somehow. She opened the reunion, gave them pumpkins with their faces carved in them.
I do wonder if it's because she was like, listen, I stayed around those women for over an hour and they fought at the table over like dumb stuff. Get me in
Hmm.
before the fighting. Like, let me be in and out.
Probably. Let me be at the top of the day so we can get everybody in good spirits. Then the end. Yeah, for sure.
And then let it erode from there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
start with Jamie Lee Curtis. And then the next thing that comes up is the online harassment of Garcelle's son.
Yeah.
And Andy uses this as a moment to say, like, no one at Bravo supports this. If you are a fan who is threatening the lives of these people, like, at the end of the day, this is a show for entertainment. You should not cross that boundary. And the cast thanks him for saying this. We get further into what Jax had to deal with when Diana shows up, who, if she's sick, looks sick, throwing it out there. Like,
There were
you,
pictures of her makeup people putting her
mm-hmm,
makeup on with no mask, and she had no mask on, but she supposedly had COVID. So, like, make it make sense. I don't know. Either they
right.
really don't care about COVID protocols or she's fucking lying.
Yeah, I think it's probably that she's fucking lying. But
Yeah.
who am I to say? I just have a podcast. So
Maybe she'll send us a cease and desist like she's sending everyone else.
please, I need
That
someone
would be
tell me
like
to
the peak
shut
of my
up,
life,
everyone.
honestly. If we got
Yeah,
a cease and
like
desist from a real housewife, like I would be like, oh, we've peaked.
we made it.
Yeah,
We did it.
we did it.
All right. So we of course have to rehash drama that went on last season and carried into this season when we talked with Crystal about the language she used, the experience, what was, did someone say something racist? Did someone say something dark? Was it the tone? Was it was I want to defend Crystal here, but she made it hard too in terms
Really
of
hard.
the story she's trying to tell. And I think, like, if she were to be just succinct to be like, this event hurt me and hurt my feelings, because I think she did have a point of like, bro, I had met Sutton like 14 minutes prior, and she's telling me she doesn't see color, and then she sees me
Yeah.
naked. Like, yeah, I wasn't exactly comfortable with all of this. And so this whole thing kind of left me feeling weird. And if she leaves it, that's fine. But I just felt like she was trying to protect Sutton because they've become friends. And then in trying to protect Sutton, it then became like murky and
Right.
allowed people to come at her. But this is where I have an issue. Kyle's tone with her, Andy's tone with her. Like, I felt like they were being way too hard on Crystal about something where, like, you have Erica there, you have Lisa Rinna there, you
Right.
have Diana there. Like, Andy's like, oh, ha ha ha, you're friends with Jeffrey Epstein, ha ha ha. And then he's like, Crystal, did she or did she not say something like this? Like, what? Why is interrogation Andy coming out for Crystal
Right.
and not for all these white women?
Because Andy's a racist.
So,
We've
um,
seen we've seen Andy not hold the white women on the cast accountable. The way that he holds, let's say, the way that he speaks to Candace specifically
mhm.
is just so like despicable in comparison to the way that he speaks to like Erica or Rinna, who are miles worse than anything Candace has ever done. And I feel like we kind of got the same thing here with Crystal a little bit.
I hated how Kyle was speaking to her. absolutely hated it.
Kyle
I was
has like
getting
this
so
moral
mad.
superiority over Crystal for some, like, I don't know what Crystal did to Kyle to make her hate her so much, but like Kyle hates Crystal.
And just how much, I know I said this before, they emphasize her age in comparison. And
Right.
even
She's
Andy
also
made a
like, it's not like she's
comment.
29. She's 39 years old.
Yeah. What was the comment of about millennials? Something millennials. He's like, isn't that redundant? And I'm like,
Oh,
shut
dramatic millennials. And I was like, you know what?
dramatic.
Literally, fuck you, first of all.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You know what you sound like? Fucking old boomer idiots. Like, that drove me crazy. As a millennial, that drove me crazy. Especially these rich, privileged ass fucking people.
Hmm.
I can't. I can't.
That comment alone, I was like, I'm out. I can't do this. And just put Garcelle on. Like, let me listen to Garcelle.
Right.
I don't want to hear
Right.
any of you. Yeah, Kyle's tone, Andy's tone towards Crystal. Erica took a few jabs. Um, and then they like Lisa Rinna ask her questions where I'm like, shut up. You are like, I can't remember the question she asked, but I remember just being like, you of everything on the stage has no right to be asking Crystal the questions that you're asking her.
Right. Right. Yeah, I don't
If
understand. Didn't someone also ask her, like, they were talking about her eating disorder, and didn't someone say, like, were you upset that Sutton came in the room because you were, like, purging? And I was like, that's such an inappropriate question.
Yeah.
Did I make that up?
No, that happened. I don't think it
Okay.
was.
Was it Andy?
I think Andy was asking like from a viewer question.
Oh,
That's how
right.
it came
That's
up.
an inappropriate question.
Yeah, you can weed that one out.
Yeah, like, you don't need to ask it. Also, I don't know that those viewer questions are always real.
Same.
Like, I feel like they are just masking as, like, Jane from Deer Park, New York.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you. Yeah, they brought up her eating disorder. It was interesting when a viewer question called out Kyle when they were like, "Oh, so you can bring up your eating disorder when Crystal's talking about hers, but Sutton's not allowed to bring up her miscarriage when Diana's talking about hers." And
Hmm.
like, isn't that the same thing? And Kyle was like, it actually is the same thing. I was expecting her
Kyle
to,
just uses her excuse of, like, I drank 900 margaritas at
yeah.
Garcelle's birthday party. So it's like, okay, way to
Okay,
take
but bitch, you've
accountability
been
for
drinking
nothing.
margaritas for 30 years. Like, know how
Right.
alcohol affects you.
Right.
Um, I do. I mean, if I was Crystal, in all honesty, like I wouldn't want to come back at this point. You've spent a couple of seasons with these women. They're not giving you the opportunity. They're also holding against you. Like, oh, when they were nitpicking how she explained the 14 friends, like,
Yeah.
even I just why? Like, why would you want to? I get it. It's a check, but politely, you don't need it. Why do you
No,
want
you
to deal
definitely
with
don't need it.
this? Like, the money is not worth having to deal with this. And so I get that Crystal didn't do the best in like representing her issue with Sutton. I also thought it was kind of weird that Sutton just like sat there in silence for all of it and like didn't jump in. So I think Sutton's really trying to practice the like, let me not fumble over my words, let everybody else.
Yeah. Sutton actually
But
said at BravoCon the one thing that she does regret at the reunion is not speaking up more for Jax,
mhm,
Garcelle's son.
yeah,
So she did say that at the reunion that she felt like she was too quiet. So maybe, I don't know, maybe who knows why she wasn't speaking up much. But yeah, you're probably right. Plus, I think it's hard to get a word in.
yeah, with that group. And they treat they don't treat Sutton as much or as harshly as they do Crystal when Sutton speaks. But like, if Sutton makes a mistake, she's gonna hear about it.
Oh, for the
Where
rest of her life.
if Crystal speaks, she's gonna hear about it. I just this isn't the group for Crystal. I don't
Mhm.
think that Crystal's boring. I think that Crystal could be fun to have on. Just like this isn't the group because even the outsiders group isn't big on her. Like Garcelle and Sutton aren't big on her. Like you have
Yeah.
no allies here, and it sucks. But why do you want to come back and deal with Kyle Richards?
Yeah. I don't know.
I also have another point, and I'm sure you have 20 of them that I want to complain about Kyle Richards, which is
Oh, my favorite pastime.
when he was talking about her home invasion.
This
And
was so wild.
Kyle
Wild.
jumps in and is like, did I tell you guys that the people who robbed my house called us and said they'll give us our stuff back if we give them some money? And it's like, this was about Dorit. Like, this
Your
isn't
home invasion was like
about
5
you.
years ago. We've already talked it to death. We get it.
You weren't even home.
You literally weren't at home.
And Kyle jumping in with that when it was about Dorit.
Yeah, that was wild.
I mean, given like Dorit talks a lot anyway, but I just was like, how does Kyle not see that Kyle does these things? It's the exact thing that she did with the miscarriages and the eating disorders and all this. Like, that actually made me mad.
Oh, I was like, wait, did she really just do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was wild. That was wild.
Do you think that Dorit was real mad or fake mad when Andy yawned for the second year in a row?
I think she was real mad.
I thought she was real mad too.
Mm-hmm. Which is honestly maybe the funniest thing that Andy Cohen's ever done is yawn 2 times in a row, 2 years in a row at the reunion at Dorit.
He's
like, I get it, Andy. We all feel the same. Mm-hmm. Fire her.
The other thing is, if I'm Andy, I know in this moment that the camera is on Dorit. Like, he's done enough of these reunions where that's where you are able to like adjust how you're sitting or yawn or whatever it is. Like, and then Dorit being like, did you yawn again 2 years in a row? Sorry, I just saw that the Yankees game got rescheduled. I was really looking forward to them losing tonight. Okay, I guess I'll have to be tomorrow. Sorry, as a massive Red Sox fan, I
get it.
Tito is my boy, so plus I never would root for the Yankees to win. Anyway, yeah, I was like, oh, cool, I'll still be able to watch it after we podcast. But it's postponed due to weather. That's fine. Makes sense with like everything you were saying with Matt's flights. So
yeah. They didn't board, by the way, and they're supposed to leave at 10 o'clock. So I would say he's still delayed. Sorry, Matt.
Yikes. They're not leaving tonight.
Definitely not.
Is it after that they bring Diana on via Zoom?
Yeah, I don't know the sequence of events, but yes, it's definitely after that she comes. She comes on close to the end.
Yeah. And Diana, this also made me mad. Diana was treated so much better than Crystal was. Like, Crystal showed up. Why are you not interrogating her with the tone that you are, Crystal?
Right.
Why?
It's a great question. It's a great question.
She was treated very well for someone who chose not to be there. Given Andy Cohen he implied, he's like, oh, you look great for someone who's sick, but that's probably as much as he can do in that space without creating an argument.
Yeah,
I thought she was treated really well. I hope that's the last time we see her, like next week.
I hope so too. She's like a jump scare. Like, I forget that she exists and then she pops up and I'm like, oh God. She was such a terrible casting choice. And then when you see the message, I don't know if you saw like a screenshot of the text message she sent Garcelle, but it's basically just being like, you start fights with me because you want me to seem racist. But it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, basically accusing Garcelle of like trying to smear her publicly. But all this woman does is post negative shit about Garcelle and racist shit about other people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the whole explanation of how she thought that black meant like the dark web, like, and not the literal skin color of the woman that she was being rude to.
And she's like, can you believe they have black content creators? I was like, oh my God, is this like really? So that's something that these people... Well, yeah, I guess Crystal was like, no, I really don't think that she knew what she was talking about. But like, well, they're friends too, which makes me suspect of Crystal. But like, the fact that Crystal can't say the word dark in reference to something Sutton said was dark, or she, whatever. But this woman can go online and say, can you believe, like, oh, typical black content creator? I don't remember what she said. And not one of them says, like, you need to think about your fucking word choice.
Yeah.
But Crystal can't say the word violated. It's just the double standard is so wild. It's so wild. Why? Because Diana has money and connections.
She's also able to use English as her second language. And again, I can't remember what podcast we were on where I said, and I'll say it again, I have an ESL certification and I'll fight about this. We don't get to use it as as the scapegoat here, like how she is. There is a PR person telling her, no, 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 we can spin it this way and we can blame it on your English.
Yeah, it just feels very convenient for someone who migrated from Bosnia.
You could be right.
I don't
It's
know.
something with a B.
I don't know. But to the UK and then lived there for a long time and became very successful and then moved to the US and is also very successful. I'm sorry, you can't tell me you don't know the connotation of the word black
Right.
when
Right.
referencing a woman who's black. Like, you can't
Yeah.
tell me that. I'm sorry. There's no way. There's no way. Maybe English is your second language, but like, come the fuck on. You can't. Like, there's no way I believe that to be true.
Oh, no, I don't
It's
believe
not
it either.
it's not a complicated word.
No. No. And especially like, have you not been around since, I mean, obviously we've had civil rights issues, but also like
Right.
tensions have raised quite a bit since 2020 concerning um like Black Lives Matter and just how black people are treated in America, and you are calling out a black woman and using the word black in a negative way and thinking that it's okay because even if you think you are using it in a different way, which I don't believe for a
I
fucking
don't believe it.
second,
Yeah.
like I just finish sentence because it's just like, how are you? How these for someone to have so much money? Like, how do you not send this off to someone and be like, hey, does this make sense before I go and try to take down this content creator? And
Right.
you must have people. You people fucking clean your hotel room before you get to it. How do you not have someone to
You
read
send
the
literally
shit
like
that
a
you're about
fucking
to?
ghost hunter to your hotel
Yeah,
rooms before you go stay somewhere.
you don't have someone to
Yes.
read.
Honeysuckle said in the chat, like Indy of BB24 said, and I'm so glad that she did. This is 2022. We have the internet. Google it. Google it. And not only that,
Absolutely.
but like, okay, let's just say, fine. Let's pretend, because we're living in fantasy land, that she didn't know what she was saying. She's using race all over the place in other places. So why is she like so conscious of saying like, oh, if I say one thing about Garcelle, like they're all trying to make me seem like I'm a racist, but then like you don't realize that you're saying black content creator about a black woman. Like there's no way that you're like thinking people are trying to like tank you for being a fake racist and then not realize what you're saying. Like you can discuss racism in one place as if it's like a way to take you down, but then when you're actually being, I mean, she's racist anyway, but like when you're displaying your racism on full view, you're like, oh, I don't speak English. I don't speak English. Sorry, it's my second language. I migrated here. I don't know anything. It's like, no. You don't get it both ways. You don't get to cry racism or reverse racism or whatever the fuck she's trying to do, which doesn't exist, in one place and then just like be a blatant racist and then just be like, I don't know. My second language. Sorry. No, didn't know. Didn't know what I said. It just, none of it makes sense. She is the worst housewife in history. In history. And we didn't even talk about the bots yet.
No, we haven't even gone there. Can I bring up a quick side story about racism?
Of course.
So, do you remember when my notifications were just like on fire when I tweeted about the first boot in Survivor? I think I talked to you about it. How it was just like, well, I don't know if you know this, but you have like your DMs, right? And then you have your DM requests.
Oh, yeah.
And then within DM requests, there's like another folder of like, you probably don't want to see these because people are assholes requests.
Wait, really? Okay, that I didn't know.
Yeah. I just learned this today. And so, like, full disclosure, I'm sitting on the toilet before I'm getting in the shower, right? And I had a DM, and then it said, or no, I'd cleared the DM from like the DM request, which it had been sitting there for a while. And it still said I had a request. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And so I went back into the request, and then there's like basically a show more folder. And like kind of like a sensitive content type of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had two in there. And so one of them said, actually, let me read it verbatim because this person deserves to be quoted. They said, "You do realize you're white, don't you?"
What? No. Really? I had no idea.
I was like, trust me, my boyfriend who is Black reminds me all the time.
Shout out to Lavelle.
Sometimes he calls me Wonder Bread. Like,
Cute.
I'm fully aware of the color of my skin. And so with like the date that I've been sent, it must have been in reference to that, because otherwise I don't think I've done anything like, too activist on my Twitter outside of there lately.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, someone reminded me that I'm white, because God forbid I stand up for
Right.
people of color. God
Yeah.
forbid. So yeah, I saw that. I opened it. I just started fucking laughing. Like, oh, thank you.
People are
I did need that reminder, because I
truly
mean,
insane.
especially like reminding me versus someone who's like fucking balls deep in using Ave and just like completely appropriating Black culture, where
Sure. Like
like
Turner from Big Brother.
yeah. And oh yeah, he thinks he created the term bussin', right?
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking moron.
Well, I don't know if he thinks that, but Big Brother certainly thinks that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And now he's like appropriating it as his own thing.
Yeah. Where it's like, there's plenty of other people on this Blue Earth app, or this Bluebird app, need to be reminded that they are not Black, that they are white. But thank you for the reminder. I needed it. Thank you. So anyway,
You're wild.
just wanted to put that out there, that like asshole folder exists.
I need to. Well, I don't have my DMs open for people who don't follow me. I did for like a minute, and then I turned it back off.
I welcome the opportunity to just light someone up on any given occasion. So I don't really get the opportunity to. Like, I didn't respond to this person because I feel like a month later is just the moment has passed.
Yeah.
And if it might have been one of the people who replied to me. I stopped replying to replies of that tweet. I set myself on it like 5 days later, because it's like,
yeah, that's fair.
I'm still getting replies. I'm still like, replies are getting replies. Like, we need to cut this off. I can't be angry forever. I've done my due diligence. Let's move in.
Yeah. The way that people find tweets sometimes is so wild. Like, I tweeted something about Scott Disick when he was dating Lisa Rinna's daughter when she turned 20. And I was like, oh, TMZ posted an article. And I was like, oh, like old man's girlfriend turns like 20 or is no longer a teenager or something like that. And like, it got a lot of likes for some reason. That had to be a long time ago, because they broke up a long time ago. And like, people still randomly find it and like it. I'm like, how the fuck did you come across this tweet? Like, where did you find this?
This, like, Twitter more than any other platform, when you get a like from something in the past, it's like, oh, this is weird. Like, at least on Instagram, it makes sense.
Like, it could be like
scroll down.
Yeah.
But like, I tweet dumb stuff nearly daily. Like, where are you finding this stuff?
Yeah, it's weird.
Okay. So, when Diana comes on, this is when the bots come back up. They had come up earlier because Andy had asked Garcelle, like, do you think someone in the group did it? And she was like, yeah, I do. And she like kind of was making eye contact with Rinna during it, but
I actually don't think it was Rinna. I think it was either Erica or Diana, because the comments were so pro Diana and Erica that it only made sense for it to be one of them.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that comes up with Diana, basically Diana saying like, listen, I wouldn't do this. It's not me. And Garcelle's like, I absolutely think it was you. And my favorite line of the whole reunion is when Diana goes, you must have such a low opinion of me to think that I would do this. And Garcelle, without flinching, without blinking an eye, just goes, yes.
Yeah.
I do. Like, I do think that low of you, that you would do something like this.
I have a lot of thoughts about this segment of the reunion, specifically about Jax and the bots that were attacking him. I have a lot of issues with the way that this was handled, because when it was happening and it was going on and he was getting these awful Awful, racist, horrible messages about him, his family, his mother. They didn't even show a lot of it. They showed one specific one about like, thank God your daddy's white, whatever. I'm not going to repeat the whole thing, but there were messages about Oliver, his brother, who is in recovery, like about him being an addict and like overdose. Like there were horrible messages about personally about like his family. The kid is 14 years old. He's a young black boy, first of all, who's been already mistreated by the women on this cast. And he was going his first day of high school. And like, I'm sorry, but the kids don't sign up for this. And even if they did, like this is so far beyond, but it's different for Garcelle because she's aside from Cherie, she's the only black housewife on this show. Her kids are the only black kids on this show. And like Erica has the nerve to put on Instagram and like retweet shit about her grown ass son. Her son is like 30 something, maybe older than that. And he's a full on fucking adult police officer. And she's like, yeah, about my son. It's like, no. These are not the same. These are not the same. Rinna, your daughter's not the same as this 14-year-old black child. Not the same thing. It's not the same thing. And then for Kyle to sit there and to really defend Diana because she's like, oh, you didn't black my name out of it. It's like, fuck you. Literally, fuck you. Like, no one is here standing up for Garcelle and what is right. And they all made it about their own kids. And it's like not about your kids because your kids aren't getting attacked by bots with racist comments. And like Portia, Kyle's daughter, got attacked on Instagram or something, or people were DMing her. But like, guess what? They're not saying stuff about like, oh, you're only this because your daddy's white. Guess what? Because she's fucking white. So like, it's not the same. It's just not the same thing. And I don't like that they didn't like say something to Rinna and to Erica and to Kyle and all these women who are like doing all this whataboutism with their kids. It's like, it's such a different scenario. Like, just fucking say something about it. Why are you not calling attention to something like that? Like, explain the difference. Garcelle shouldn't have to explain the difference. Like, Andy should be able to step in. Somebody else should be able to step in and say like, no, this is not the fucking same thing. It's not the same. I thought they really mishandled this whole segment.
Oh yeah, and especially with, I can't remember if it was in the first part or second part of Garcelle talking about it, but when she said, it feels like I'm not wanted on this show, and the best way to make me leave this show is to force me to leave to protect my kids.
Yeah.
And I never thought of it like that. I just thought it was like ignorance and racism, and didn't think of like, oh, could this be a higher level attack in terms of like trying to get her to leave? And I hope that that's not what happens. But in the same way, I completely understand if her and her sons sit down and they have a conversation of like, do you want me to go back next season? Because I see what you had to go through. I'm sorry you had to go through it. And the way that the cast reacted to it, it does not seem like there's going to be people standing up for them going forward that kind of in the same way as Crystal, like, to deal with this. Is this worth the check? Is it?
Well, yeah. And like, once again, it's Garcelle having to say, I'm here protecting my family and my kids, and now I have to protect you too. Like, fuck that. Like, I don't give a fuck about you. I give a fuck about my son who's 14. He's a child. Like, Crystal's the only one who can stand up and say like, oh, you know, whatever she said about like, you know, I don't see color. She's the only one that, and you know, obviously Garcelle was there too. I don't know if Garcelle was there for that conversation. Actually, I don't think she was.
It was Kyle.
But like, yeah, but like, why can't anybody just do the right thing?
Because like you said, they're too caught up in themselves. It's like,
it's just so
my kid dealt with it. It's like, for you to not understand the privilege that you and your kids have because they're white, this is like what they're dealing with, like the knee on the neck, and then Diana being like, well, you could have blurred out my name and that
like, honestly, Diana, not politely, fuck you. Like, literally, fuck you. Fuck you. And I'm sorry, I don't believe that you didn't know Jeffrey Epstein. Sorry, don't believe it. I don't believe it. Show me the flight logs. I don't believe it.
That's more or less where the first episode ends, correct?
I think right around there. That part just, it got me heated. Like, Kyle's such trash. Kyle is fucking trash. You're really sitting here defending this woman who couldn't even show up and defend herself when Garcelle is literally like leaving it all out there about her son. Like, you really have the nerve. This is when you're speaking up. This is when you decide to. Aside from the fact that like they're doing like a full on attack on Garcelle, Rinna too. because she's like, oh, we can't fight with Garcelle without being called racist. It's like, no, you're actually just like being racist. That's what's happening. It has nothing to do with you fighting with Garcelle. It has to do with you guys being fucking racist. That's the problem.
Yes.
And then she's like, oh, go watch Dubai if you want to have a fucking, like, that's racist. What you just said is fucking racist. I don't know. It's just crazy. It's just crazy to me. The whole thing is crazy. Rinna's gotta go. Erica's good. They all have to go.
Pull in New York. 7 new women. 6 new women in Garcelle. I guess she can keep 7.
I would keep
5
Sutton.
new.
I would keep Sutton.
Actually, I don't need 7. Give me 6 at most.
Yeah, 6 is a good number. 6 and a friend of.
Mm-hmm. But we have more to come. I think we're going to get, 2 more episodes of this? Because we've got the whole Kathy Hilton thing.
I just need Kathy to come destroy everybody. I'm waiting. I'm ready for it.
I think we're an episode away at least from that.
She got like standing ovations at BravoCon. They were like chanting her name. It was just like the skies opened up and she just like came down on a golden chariot. It's weird. I don't know why. She's funny, but like I guess people just really hate Rinna that much.
It's gotta be it. Oh, all right. Well, the next episode we're going to talk about is Salt Lake City. That was the first one I watched today. So apologies in advance if I feels like I'm skipping over stuff because they're in Arizona.
That's fine.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I mean, I felt like this episode was a little bit better, but not great. Still, it's the same issue I have where we're just too close to the prior season's conflict that people haven't had time to just like process and calm down and then come to the place of like, I have to be with this woman however many days a week that we film. Let me just suck it up and be done with it. Like, I think we got the first step of that today or in this episode, not today, but in this episode. And then some moves were made to kind of ruin that. But
I have so many thoughts about this episode.
Great. Where did it start? Were they still yelling about
Honestly, I don't know where it started.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's just get into the issue then, because like if I can't remember,
I think it started the next morning, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
I think we should start where it matters, which is we had Lisa apologize again to Meredith, and Meredith being like, until your actions match your words, I'm not ready to be your friend.
Right. Oh, yeah. I guess it started at this dinner.
Yeah. Because that happened, and then
after the shaman, as Meredith would say.
So then we have kind of progression. Oh, because the next morning, Heather sits down with Meredith and is like, listen, I think you're being a condescending bitch about this. Like, there are other people in the same house who did worse things to you and your family, and you have chosen to forgive, but you are holding Lisa to a higher standard than you are with these other people, and I don't think it's fair. I think you're being a condescending bitch.
I highly supported Heather in this moment. Highly support. And I'm like mostly, I'm like 70% out on Heather. But like in this moment, I was all in on Heather. And I was like, yeah, she is being a condescending bitch. She is.
Yeah, and I thought she did a good job of like not saying Jen's name, but implying like,
yeah,
you had all this. And because to be fair, I haven't really thought of it from that perspective until Heather brought it up.
Right. Well, Meredith is she's weird. Every season so far, she's had like an allegiance to someone, and it's like unwavering. Like last season, it was Mary, and it's like, have they ever had a conversation before? Because they were definitely not actually friends. Like, I don't know if they made some kind of pact at the beginning of the season, and now what did she do that again with Jen? I feel like we almost saw it on screen with Jen when they're like, no more fighting, peace only, no more fight. It almost feels like that's like an unspoken like alliance going into the season, which I hate. What did you think about Lisa saying she's not going to slit her wrists about this anymore? Inappropriate.
Yeah, I mean, are we not at the point where we know we can't make these types of comments?
Right.
It's 22. Plus, in addition, like, forget just at the... You are on television. This is being shown to maybe 1 million people. I'm sure there's more. The ratings are weird. I'm sure more people
Yeah.
like stream it, but there's people who see this that like you don't need to use that reference. They're the analogy or whatever it is. No,
Mm-hmm.
that's a bad I get in quite a bit. And oh, I think we talked about it on TV Hates Quitters. Like I hate to always be the person that's like, do you have to say things that way? Like
I know.
you're not trying to be the police about it over here, but ugh, it's just be better. It's
Right.
2022. Be better.
Just take
Tell
like
them,
a
Nitro.
second. Just take a second to choose your words. Just a second. It's
Mm-hmm.
very easy to just take a second and think through what you're going to say before you say it.
Yeah, no, I agree. So we're at a place where like, all right, we're gonna at least coexist because we have this fun day on the Pedal Tavern where we're gonna bike our way through Scottsdale, Arizona to get to a rodeo. And
Mhm.
I did think it was kind of funny when Whitney said, like seeing Meredith and Lisa just passive aggressively throw wine on each other during their pedal bike tavern
Yeah.
experience is great. Have you ever been on a pedal bike tavern?
So, no, I thought I wanted to do it until I saw one in real life. And then I was like, this is actually the most mortifying thing I've ever seen. Like, in theory, it seems fun. But, like, when
Mm-hmm.
you're actually, like, watching people do it from afar, I'm like, ooh, this is cringe.
So, I have a pedal bike tavern story that I'm adjacent to that
Okay.
I went to Nashville with my brother and four of his friends, I think, and
That's where
then
I thought I wanted to do it.
and my best friend went as well. So like there were seven of us, and Tosh flew in the morning. She was supposed to get on an earlier flight, but there was like security issues. They had to like shut down security, so their flight like left without half of their passengers. So she had to catch a later flight, but she should have been there in time to do the pedal tavern.
Mm-hmm.
So when she gets there, they've already like they're on the pedal tavern, they're pedaling around, and my brother was like, "Oh, okay, I'll meet you at this place." He's like, "I don't have to like do the pedal tavern anymore. It's fine." And she's like, "No, no, no, it's okay. Like, please, like, I don't want to like ruin your experience just because I was late." She's like, "I don't mind like walking and meeting you guys the next place or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Secretly, no, because the pedaling sucks. Like, my legs hurt. I'm
Yeah,
tired.
it's like
I don't want to
hard,
do this
right?
anymore." Yeah. And he was like, "I'm actually so happy that you're late because I don't have to do this pedal tavern. And I just seem like I'm being a nice person. It's really a win win for
Oh my God.
everything." So, no, I've never done one, but according to my brother, it sucks. So,
It seems like it sucks.
yeah, I don't need to work while I'm drinking. Like, this is supposed to be a
Yeah,
relaxing
no.
activity.
Right. Well, I do want to say this is the most embarrassing display I have ever seen on a housewife show. Ever.
I saw you tweet about
Ever.
this. Please go on.
Ever. I'm not over it. I'm not over it. The fact that, like, first of all, it's mostly empty. There's only 5 of them.
Hmm.
They're on a residential street practically with like a strip mall in the background in the middle of like, it looks like what is a Tuesday, getting like, I don't know. Are they drunk? I don't know. Are they fake drunk? Just throwing wine all over each other. When Whitney got up and started treating it like a stripper pole and then got upside down and then Jen Shah poured wine into her skirt, I was screaming. I was like, this is not real. Like, this is not real. These women do too much. And they're the most, I had the most secondhand embarrassment I have ever had. Ever watching the show. And then they got off and went to a rodeo in the same sticky ass fucking, and they seemed totally sober. They were walking in, they were like,
Yeah.
hey, hello, I'm covered in wine. Oh,
Yeah, that's
what's
true.
that smell? I'm sorry, it's just the rosé that Jen Shah poured into my vagina. Sorry. Oh, you can smell that? Sorry, it's just my sticky wine vagina. I have never seen
Gross.
anything like this in my life.
Gross. Yeah,
I'm
I
just
won't lie to
mortified.
you. I didn't pay a ton of attention to the pedal bike
Oh,
tavern
I couldn't take
part.
my eyes off of it.
Yeah, I didn't really pay attention much to it.
The strip malls in the background are really what got me. It's like they just were like pedaling by shopping centers. It was just
Hmm.
like the most janky ass fucking low rent shit I've ever seen.
It's like, what streets will you allow us to close off for Real Housewives of Salt Lake
I bet
City?
you they didn't even have to close the street down. It's like they're just like in a desolate area in Arizona. I'm like, did they like break? Did they fly this pedal bike in? There's no way that this
I
is like
thought
the
they were
normal pedal bike
in
route.
Scottsdale. Weren't they in Scottsdale?
They
Isn't
were
Scottsdale fun? I've heard great
not where
things
they
about
were.
going to Scottsdale, Arizona. But also, oh, Arizona didn't care about the pandemic. Who am I kidding?
No,
um,
they definitely didn't care about the pandemic.
yeah, maybe, I don't know. I've heard Scottsdale's a lot of fun. So, either way,
Well,
like,
I don't know where they went in Scottsdale, but it didn't seem like it was the area where fun stuff was happening. Because we just got like this one dude who's like, yes, party bike. And then I'm like, there's no main road. There's no road where this like normally happens.
mhm.
You're on back streets in front of like a fucking micro center. It was bad. It was really embarrassing.
They get to the rodeo. They go to the rodeo thing because Lisa says that
Covered
horses
in
make,
sticky wine.
yeah,
Not over it.
horse,
And then they put those outfits on top of their wine covered clothes. It was just so unbelievable. I'm not over it. They must smell so bad. I can't get over it.
I pulled a U and really went like full, I don't care about your activities.
Oh, I
Real
hated
Housewives.
this. I hated the whole
So
thing.
I just like didn't pay much attention to it. So if anything happened, it seemed like they had the conversations there of like, so where do you stand with Meredith? Where do you stand with
Yeah, in the middle
Lisa?
of like a horse pen. And it was just so
Yeah.
weird. This whole thing was very weird.
Yeah. But it progressed us to the garbage, trash whore, lingerie party. Is that the correct name?
Garbage or something. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. And
I have so many thoughts on this too. These women, I've never had more secondhand. This is like almost Dallas Housewives level of embarrassment that I get from these people. And like Dallas is like really the most low rent housewife franchise.
I just don't get like, okay, so first of all, I don't want to make it seem like I'm not a girl's girl, but I'm not very like feminine in the things that I enjoy doing, and I will very much not pretend to enjoy them just because I'm with a group of women who do. Like I would rather just not go somewhere than pretend that like I'd want to dress up in lingerie with a group of friends. And that just like, so maybe it's because of who I am that I've never been in this situation. So is it normal that like grown ass women just decide we're all going to get dressed in lingerie tonight for the sleepover we're having? Does this happen? Because I feel maybe like bachelorette parties, but even then it's still kind of weird. I avoid those like the plague. Like, please don't invite me.
If you think I'm ever coming to a party and putting on boy shorts and a corset and walking around eating dinner, you are sadly mistaken. That would literally never happen. I would be Lisa Barlow in my fucking pajamas.
I would be Mary, not on the season. I would be home.
I'd be watching from the comfort of my home.
Like
This
I'm
was
not
what I
there.
mean, no, I agree. This is I've never heard of actual people doing this. And like I don't want to yuck anyone's yum. If you want to have lingerie parties with your friends, like have a great time. I will not be participating. Like I will not.
I hate a theme party.
We even I went on a trip with a few friends in December and everyone's like, bring a onesie, do all this thing. I didn't bring a fucking onesie. You know what I did? I sat
No.
there in my fucking sweatshirt, my hoodie,
Yeah.
and like sweatpants. That was my onesie. I'm not
Yeah.
doing that shit. I'm not. And that's like a
No.
comfort thing. I'm like, a comfortable onesie. Yay. Like no, I'm not doing that. So if you think I'm putting on lingerie and I won't even put on a onesie, get the fuck out of here.
I just don't like being told what I have to wear. So, like my best friend's 30th, she told everybody to dress up. She told me you just can't wear sweatpants and a sweatshirt. And I was like, now I really only I would have worn like jeans and a nice shirt.
You had jeans when I met you, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
okay wearing like jeans and a nice shirt. That's not
Yeah.
like an issue for me. The fact that she said sweatpants and a sweatshirt, to which I'm like, now it's the only thing I want to wear. And I didn't know that she told everybody else to dress up until I got there. Cause it was me and like my friend Tosh, we went to the party together. And so
Mm-hmm.
Tosh, like, I don't know if you have friends like this or if you're like this yourself, where like you can kind of like pull off casual as dressy. She's like very good at that. Like
Mm-hmm.
she can like pull off like a leggings and like a long sweater and it looks like she's dressed up and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I just look like frumpalumpagus over here if I try to do that." So, I didn't know that she had told everybody else to dress up and just told me like, "Just please do the bare minimum." Because she knows otherwise I wouldn't. And I mean, I respect it. I
She met
respect
you
that
where
she
you
was
are.
okay with me like showing up in my I have like the men's UGG boots because they're shorter and they're like
Mm.
not as like basic white bitch. I hate the word basic, but I'm sorry I said it. Um, and you can wear them with like skinny jeans and a nice shirt or whatever out in the winter
Yeah.
and it's fine. So like I wore that, but the fact that she knew that I that was out like that was okay. That's where I am in terms of the effort you're gonna get from me. If you
Yeah.
want me there, not tell me what I have to wear. Do not put a theme. I'm not gonna do it. Nope. I will stay
So you're
home
telling
when
me
I know there's a
when I
theme.
invite you to a girls trip, you're not going to bring your glam team and your full wardrobe of lingerie?
You wanna see my glam team? My Carmex. That's it. That's all I got for glam. I don't own makeup. I don't wear makeup. I never have. I won't. I will if I get married, it won't be in makeup.
Shout
Like
out.
I've had people tell me like, you know that people won't ask you to be a bridesmaid because like if you won't wear makeup in the photos, you'll just look like flushed out. I'm like, that's the fucking dream. I don't want to be in your fucking wedding anyway.
Right, right. Honeysuckle
Like,
brings up a great point. Maybe we don't get the glam team and dressing up at the slumber party because we're millennials. We're
oh,
dramatic
you're right.
millennials.
I'm
It's
too
on us.
busy
It's on us.
trying to deal with the recession that this elder
Yeah. Yeah.
generation has
We're
handed
eating
to
so much
us.
avocado toast that we can't buy
Mhm,
homes that we like can't even think
mhm,
about lingerie
mhm.
parties and dressing up.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm just at home de-pitting my avocados. Sorry I can't make your theme party.
Yeah. I'm lighting my money on fire instead of buying avocados because essentially it's the same thing.
Right. Absolutely. Um, I forgot where we were besides trashing this whole idea. Yeah, but Lisa Barlow just like shows up in like silky button-up pajamas
Fashionable
that
pajamas.
yeah, like she looked great
This
and
would have been
she
the
just
route
wasn't in
I took, I think, if I were
oh,
there, which I would never be there. But like if I were there, I would have gone like a fashionable pajama route.
yeah. And we get the women like sitting down around the table and we have them bringing up yet again Meredith and Lisa because God forbid we let this rest just one
Yeah.
night. And while they're like cooking, Whitney goes up to Meredith and says, "Are you going to tell Lisa about the rumors you heard about her?" And not Lisa, Meredith is very particular about her words.
Mm.
She's like, "Well, I didn't hear them. I didn't say them. You said them." She's like, "That's not true. You said there was rumors." And then they like cut to a confessional, Meredith being like, "Well, yeah, I said there's rumors, but I'm talking about different rumors than the ones that Whitney very explicitly explained." So she's like, I'm clear of this. I'm free of this."
She's really not.
No.
She's not.
And I can't remember who else joined the conversation, but essentially everyone in the house knew about the rumors at this point, except maybe Heather. And that's a question mark because she says she didn't hear it when they were at courtside tickets for the Jazz game.
Because she was rows back behind Angie
Mm-hmm.
and Winnie or something.
Mm-hmm.
She was courtside, but not as courtside.
Yeah, less courtside.
Yeah, less
I
courtside.
see quite a few tweets that were like, I thought the Jazz was like music, not basketball. Don't they know that we don't know who the Jazz are if we're watching Bravo?
I guess that's fair. That's fair.
So I thought those tweets were funny. Um, that everybody in the house, maybe Heather doesn't know, but Whitney gave Heather a heads up though, right? Because didn't she say something along the lines of like, I wish I had known this information.
Yeah, they were like laughing about it.
Yeah. So Whitney knew it, but not in the time frame that not Whitney. Heather knew it, but not in the time frame that Whitney was implying that she knew it.
Right, I guess so.
Yeah.
I also want to say one more thing about the lingerie. I know I'm way backtracking here. But they were all talking shit about Lisa for wearing pajamas, and Meredith's outfit was unhinged. I just want to say she looked unhinged. She had an I Love New York hat on, which, like, okay, I get it. You're trying to be funny. But she's also drinking out of an I Love New York mug. And it's like, she's getting very Dorinda level of like, I made it nice. And like, it's not funny when you're in on the joke. Like, it's not funny. What you're doing is not funny. Maybe one time it would be funny, but like, stop. But she also was wearing like leather leggings and like a very uncomfortable looking like corset thing. And I'm like, this is not lingerie either, ma'am. I just want to let you know your dumb hat and your leather leggings, like that's not lingerie. Lisa's wearing something more appropriate than whatever it is you picked up out of a trash bag and threw on your body. It looked like she found a donation bag in one of those like scammy looking like pink things where you could drop your clothes off and just like picked things out of it and put it on.
She went to like Goodwill and someone gave her $5 and was like, get your outfit for tonight.
Yeah. She probably could have picked something better if she did that. She probably would have been able to find actual lingerie. I don't know what she did.
Oh, Nitro's on his bullshit. He brought my slipper in here.
Uh-oh.
It's because I haven't been ignoring him, but he's been ignoring
He had a
me
busy
too.
day. Oh.
It has been, and I invite him in here, and he just doesn't do it. Yeah. Okay. So we've got drama because we know Whitney's drunk, and she's gonna tell Lisa what happened.
Whitney drunk. Who's ever seen that before?
Right. So Whitney basically says, well, Lisa, I feel like I'm in the middle of you and Meredith because Meredith came to me with rumors and Meredith's like, I didn't, you did. You were the one that said that these things. And I was like, what was said? What was said? And finally they tell Lisa that she's sleeping with some rich dude to help basically like further her tequila company along, in addition to getting courtside floor seats at the Jazz game. Obviously, shit blows up.
Oh yeah.
Whitney's probably the worst friend.
I can't stand Whitney. I've tried. I can't stand her. She is the fakest. I just can't. I know she's like doing what she can to further storylines or whatever, but like everything she does comes off as inauthentic, and I just cannot stand her.
It's just you can't tell her anything without her running and like telling everybody publicly in front of everyone, and then being like, I'm healing. I need to get this off my chest. So I'm gonna just start shit. I'm so sick of, and this is a little sidetrack, of seeing people doing like healing events on Housewives. I do not need to see one more goddamn sound bath.
I was just gonna say, keep your sound baths. I don't need a sound bath. I never want to watch a sound bath.
Your shamans, your sound baths,
you can keep it.
I'm over it.
Yep. Unless it's Kelly Dodd putting a bowl on Shannon's head and hitting it with a hammer. Like, I don't need that's the only sound bath I need to see.
Shannon has to go to the hospital for that.
Had to is a term that I don't know that I would use.
So yeah, shit blows up. Lisa leaves the room. I need to go call my husband. Meredith leaves the room, and Lisa's mad because she's like, listen, the only thing I have right now is my family, and you guys are coming after my family. Meredith goes after Lisa, being like, listen, I didn't say those things. I just have different shit on you that I'm not announcing publicly currently. But then it
almost felt like Meredith had to like eat the same shit that Lisa's been eating.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. Like someone was like, go check on Lisa. And Meredith came in and was like, no, like, I didn't say that.
And then we get Heather going off on Whitney. The cousins are fighting.
Yeah, they are.
Because Whitney's like, you knew this. Heather, no, I didn't. Whitney, Angie said it to us when we were taking that selfie at the Jazz game. Heather, I didn't hear anything. Don't call me a liar. And that's basically it.
I believe Heather here.
It is so easy to miss out on something that's said at a basketball game.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff going on. There's music playing almost constantly. And if you're not like ready for like you could have heard the names, not realized.
Yeah.
I believe Heather.
I believe Heather because I don't find, as annoying as I do find Heather sometimes, I do not find her to be someone who would like blatantly lie like that. Like she's pretty upfront and it'll be like, yeah, I said that
Yeah.
because you did this. Like she's usually pretty upfront.
She called Meredith a condescending bitch like 12
Like to
hours
her
earlier.
face. Yeah. Like that's, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's where the episode ends.
Mm-hmm.
Just when we think we're getting some peace and resolution, we're not.
No, we're not. These ladies will never let us know peace in Salt Lake City. Like literally never let us know peace.
Jen mentioned one or two times that she's like fighting for her life, which I'll bring up Honeysuckle's comment. I didn't see this. This can't be true.
I was just gonna say that. I haven't seen that either, but hold on, let me Google it.
Because she's already pled guilty. You can't be acquitted after you've pled guilty, can you? Like there's
I guess
DNA
you could get
evidence.
Like
an
no jail
appeal?
time.
Something?
I don't know. I don't know how the legal system works, but I'm not seeing anything on it.
Okay.
On a quick Google.
She's going to jail. See you later, Jen.
Well, apparently she told Tamara, I'm not going anywhere. That's what she said. She said she's not going to jail. I'm not going anywhere. She said she's not getting jail
Jen.
time. So
okay, Jen. Anything else you need to say about Salt Lake City?
Not specific to Salt Lake City, but just generally, I don't ever need it to be continued again. Especially multiple weeks in a row. Especially multiple cities in a row. Like
I was gonna say, I did give you the heads up that you're getting to be continued in
But
Potomac.
we got it to be continued in the first Potomac episode too.
Oh, did we? I watched them back to back.
Yeah, back to back. You watched them.
I didn't.
And this is another to be continued. Like I don't need it.
Well, I
think next week
continued in Potomac.
When Giselle and Mia were arguing over cancer, not cancer.
Oh, yeah, that didn't need to be continued.
No, it did not. But I will say, I think it's interesting that both of these shows, Potomac and Salt Lake City, were like 3 episodes in Salt Lake City, 2 episodes in Potomac. We're getting like most of the content from the trailer already, which makes me feel like there's a lot to come because Beverly Hills, the whole trailer was like Aspen and almost nothing happened.
Yeah.
But this, we're getting it in the first 2 or 3 episodes. That makes me feel like we have a jam-packed season for both cities, which I'm excited about.
Hopefully. I would like if Salt Lake City kind of like changes its tune, but I know. Okay. I do have something I want to show you while we're talking about Mia and her potential cancer.
Yes.
When I was listening / watching the show, I had an idea of how I can anonymously be popular on Instagram.
Oh.
And my idea is I'm going to take my favorite or most ridiculous quote from each Housewives episode I listen to and write in nice hand lettering. So, here's my first one. I am the chosen one, because that's what Mia said when she was talking about how she's been chosen to maybe have to battle cancer. I am the chosen one. It made me laugh.
You should make this Instagram.
Ones, but I was thinking
that looks
about
great. You should do that.
Calling it like Housewives hand lettering, maybe.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a lot of letters, though. I don't know if I can use that many characters in a username.
We'll workshop it. We'll figure it out. It does say, well, first of all, it's an amazing Kari.
Thank you.
And it is amazing. That looks great.
I will say that, and I think I've told you this, Katie, that my handwriting is absolutely my best character trait. After that, I am incredibly downhill. And it's something that I do pride myself in. But yeah, I do hand lettering for fun. And so there was actually a lot of rough drafts, but that's the one I settled on, mostly because I didn't cause the pen to smudge on that one. That's really what causes drafts to happen. Like, shit, I didn't let it dry again. But thank you.
I get that. It also says Potomac always delivers, and it is absolutely right. Potomac always does deliver.
Yeah, 2 episodes in, and I'm just so happy it's back.
I was watching, like, grinning like a fucking little kid this whole episode. The whole time. Watching Ray, like, dance in the circle with Kate, I was like grinning like such a fool.
Oh my gosh, Kate showed up. Or Katie?
Yeah,
Katie
Katie.
showed up and looking completely different. It was so funny how they introduced her. Like, last time I saw you was like season 3. You just disappeared, and here you
Yeah.
are. Like,
Yeah,
no
Candace really
hair,
kills me.
dancing with Ray.
No one makes me laugh like the Housewives of Potomac. No one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I Candy's my number 1, but Robin's probably like my 1B,
I
my
love Robin.
1A.
Yeah, I love
She's
Robin.
so good.
She's great.
So good. She is just like the perfect combination of voice of reason, but also can be shady and ridiculous. Like, her dancing in this episode
I was
just
going to say
cracked
I would
me
be
up.
Robin in that class.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be
Absolutely.
me. Yeah.
Actually, I would be home. Still, don't ask me to come
Yeah,
dancing
okay.
either.
I would also be home. There's no way I would ever. But like, yes, if I somehow ended up there, I
Mm-hmm.
would be Robin.
Yeah. So with the season starting, we get like a little bit of a check-in with different people. We have a little powwow in the park with
Mm-hmm.
Karen and Giselle and Robin and Ashley. And this is where we drop the news that Ashley is getting divorced? Question mark.
Yep. I just want to say about this. As soon as I saw them walking in together and saw Karen and Giselle like on good terms and just the OGs of Potomac sitting down on a picnic blanket. I don't say it that way. I say picnic. Underneath the cherry blossoms of Washington D.C., I was like, these are my women. Like I was just the serotonin that ran through me as soon as I don't need to see them do anything. I could sit and watch you have a picnic, and I'm entertained. You could do nothing and I would be entertained. And that's how I just love them so much.
Oh, they're so good.
They really are. They're the
Nitro's
best.
back. So they're sitting down chatting and they're catching up, but really the biggest conversation point here is the women asking, like, Ashley, you getting divorced? And she's like, well, you have to be separated for a year in Virginia before you can be divorced. And then they're like, well, you're getting divorced, right? And she's like, well, it's like, she didn't like actually say the D word,
Yeah.
but
Right.
her and Michael Darby are split ski. So,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but she tells them, yeah, we're going to buy a house under an LLC together that they're also like still hasn't been made because Ashley can't afford the size house on her own that she wants, and he's going to help her with it.
I have a lot of feelings about this because
Please
you
go
can't tell me
ahead.
that she's not making a good salary as a housewife. Plus endorsements and whatever else she's doing in extracurriculars that housewives get paid to do. Like there's just no way.
Oh, I agree with you
You
entirely.
should not need this man's money. There's no way. Plus, they had a prenup and she like basically on the day that the prenup expired or whatever for her to get money, like that's when she filed for divorce. So like there's no way that you need to sign a deed on a house with this man. Like you should have your own money at this point. You've been a housewife for like 6 or 7 years. What is this, season 6, 7? I don't even know.
I think it's 7.
Yeah, there's no way that she's not getting paid at least like $500,000 a season.
Yeah, absolutely. And the money thing comes up later. The producers ask her, like, well, how much money do you need to live comfortably? And so I'm just wondering, has she even like had to handle any money? Does she even know like
Probably not.
how much she even has? Because I'm assuming that it's done by Michael and like a financial team.
I would assume the same because she was young. Like when she married Michael and came on the Housewives, I think she was like 28 or something. She was young. So yeah, probably like I don't even know how to buy. How do I buy a house? I have no idea. Like, what do? You go to the bank first? Do you see the house first? Like, I don't know. But I don't have the amount of money that Ashley Darby should have. So like, I get worried about housewives who are like, I don't know, my husband handles the money because we've seen this go south many times. Teresa, Erica, like, learn from your peers.
Yeah, and it comes up later that when the women are really grilling her about like, why are you buying a house with him? Giselle kind of throws Robin under the bus of like, listen, It's only Robin's name on there. Like it's her house. And who else did she bring up?
She brought up herself, and she's like,
herself, because she
yeah.
has her and Jamal, and yeah, she
But I have
just
to say,
like,
good for Robin for not putting Juan's name on the house.
mm-hmm.
I know she kind of like explains it away or whatever, but like, you shouldn't put Juan's name on the house if it's your money.
Right. Even if it's a combination of their money, like, good for her, because I'm assuming if something were to go south a second time, which I'd read
They don't even have
rumors
a
that
wedding date. Like, why are you engaged again? Do you even like each other?
I probably
They don't even
engaged
seem like
just to
they enjoy each
shut
other's
people
company.
up. Yeah, we haven't seen them much yet this season.
No, but when we saw them last season, he was like a total dick.
Yeah. Oh, and they were
And I
out with
love
the
Juan.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Juan fan, but I've also heard that he's like definitely got people on the side.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he used to. That's why they got divorced the first time.
Right, but I've heard that he still does, so I hope it's not true. Robin doesn't deserve that. Unless she has men on the side and that they've agreed upon that, then like, live your lives. But Robin doesn't deserve to be hurt.
No, not at all.
So there's that. We have Karen at this little picnic also explain that she's having a spring into spring party.
Yeah. I love Karen.
She's just like in full ridiculousness at this
I
point.
just, she's just one of a kind. See, this
Mm-hmm.
is why we don't need young housewives. We need women like Karen.
And so they were like making fun of her invitation. Just like, is this how you're going to do this? Like, you can't just do this.
Yeah.
But we have a party coming up by the Grand Dame. And let's talk about the actual invitations that she sends. So she sends these like pink boxes with like mini tacos.
Butterflies. Oh,
Yeah.
that. Yeah. But like in the past. Yeah, yeah, yeah. With mini tacos. Yeah.
With mini
And
tacos.
didn't one of them eat? Did Robin eat one?
I think so. I probably would have ate one
I
too.
saw someone being like, no, don't eat that.
I think Robin said don't eat it, and someone else did.
Oh, someone else ate it. Okay, I don't remember who actually ate it.
Someone definitely ate one though. I would have eaten if you're bringing me mini tacos. But she had like
did she bring them, or were they like sent in the mail? Like they looked old.
No, I think there was someone who delivered it, like hand delivered it.
Oh, they looked like a little old to me. Soggy tacos.
I'll at least try one. Depending what's in the taco. If it was like fish, maybe not. But
oh, I love a fish taco.
oh, I do, but maybe not fish tacos.
Oh, it doesn't travel well. Yeah.
Yeah. Like those have a very short lifespan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the invitation had like this poem on it, and like no fights, no feuds, whatever. So, but we take a lot of the first episode, in my opinion, just kind of like catching up with everyone.
Yeah, which I don't mind that. Yeah. I don't need to jump right in.
No. We get a decent amount of Mia because we find out that she posted on Instagram that she has to go to like a cancer center, and they're determining if it's cancer. And then there's like a second post that talked about it as well. But essentially, like, she's putting her medical stuff out there, and especially like using the word cancer around it when it's not definitely cancer. And the women are like, yikes, that's a decision. That is a weird decision.
Yeah. It is. So I never actually looked at the posts, so I didn't read the captions in full. I don't know. It seemed like there was a lot of confusion around what was going on. And we've kind of like seen it before. Like Kim Zolciak, remember when she like had cancer and then all of a sudden didn't?
Yeah. I just would avoid the word cancer on the Real Housewives unless you are fully diagnosed.
Yeah, like let's not put it out there unless it's real.
Nothing good has come from the word cancer on this show.
Nothing. Speaking of cancer, did you see that the American Cancer Association, or someone, I'm pretty sure it was the American Cancer Association, denounced Lisa Rinna because she was like, if I hold this in, I'm going to get cancer and die.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think it was the American Cancer Association, I think. But if it wasn't, it was like something similar to that. They like denounced her for saying that.
Good for them.
Mm-hmm.
If every company one at a time denounces her, we'll be a better place.
It will be.
So yeah, there's definitely some. I mean, all the women essentially, maybe besides Wendy, are like, yeah, it was a little confusing that she did this and used these words. Seemed a little attention seeking was also another way it was described.
Mm-hmm.
So this will come to contention in the first episode, but who else? We check in on Giselle's new house, or not new house, but Giselle's house. She's done a lot of renovations, and we get to see her twin daughters because they're talking to her about what she should wear, and they're just completely making fun of her outfits.
I love her kids.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Giselle's their mom. There's no way they're not going to be witty.
Yeah, no, 1,000%.
They're awesome. What else happened in this first episode before the party? We didn't see a lot of Wendy in the first episode, right?
No, we did with Peter.
Oh shit, you're right. That's my bad. Wendy's
How can we forget Peter?
My bad. I'm so sorry, Peter.
Honorary housewife Peter. He would get so mad. Remember when Nene called him a bitch? Oh my god.
Yeah, that was drama.
That was a moment. Mm-hmm.
So Peter and Wendy meet somewhere to talk about the lounge that Wendy wants to open. That is based in what culture? I don't want to say the wrong place.
I don't know.
It's an African culture, correct?
I don't know. I honestly, I have to be honest, I wasn't really listening very much to their conversation, so I totally missed it.
I couldn't remember because like we have Sonia who's Jamaican. And I feel like Jamaican stuff came up, but I don't think that was the focal point of it. I also feel like my dog is doing something he's not supposed to, so I might walk away for a second. But I have like the silence or like the noise canceling on the headphones, so it's like hard to hear. I can normally tell you what Nitro's doing if he's not in the room based off his sounds, and so like since I'm not sure and I know that he's just up to no good right now. Anyway, so. Yeah, they're talking about it, and
she's Nigerian.
Okay, so I was right.
But I don't know if that's what she was talking about with Peter, but she is Nigerian.
Yeah, I think they wanted to like include African culture. Okay, I feel better about that. Thank you. So, yeah, because I remember like last year with the party and everything, and her husband, and but so yeah, Peter's back helping her with that.
I am confused. Because Wendy was like, oh, Peter's a successful bar and restaurant owner, and he's been so successful with Bar One. And I'm like, actually, he wasn't. Like, that was like the whole thing, is that like he kept needing money from Cynthia because he was a disaster. So like, not sure if that's who I would want to go into business with when opening a bar or lounge, but like, okay, you do you, I guess. Like, definitely not a success story that I would be like, oh, Peter, that's who. He's great. Bar One, total success. No, I'm like pretty sure there were a few of them and like some of them closed. Like, I don't know. It would seem messy.
Yeah.
He kept needing money from Cynthia, and that's why her family hated him.
Well, that I'm sure will develop throughout the season.
I love Peter, by the way, though. Like, I love Peter.
I don't have too much of an opinion on him. Like,
he's
I was like
such good TV.
Yeah, he is. He is. So we check in with Candace, and Candace is relaunching her album, and she is just like working on her music career. Chris, her husband, went from working at home to becoming the manager at a bar in a hotel. So it's kind of like a nightclub type of thing. The W is what we'll be referencing it as because it comes up. And so now they're working like completely different schedules. And Candace, I get it. As someone who dates someone who is in the industry, it is tough to make plans because their big, busy nights are the nights that the 9-to-5ers have off. And Candace is just struggling with Chris's work-life balance Chris seems to be struggling with Candace's lack of respect for their work-life balance, or his work-life balance, but they are talking about having a kid. So it seems like they're not trying to have a kid, at least for a year, but she does want, they're going to do IVF to save eggs, because in case they have a kid in 1 year and they want to have a second kid a few years later, she might be getting close to 40. And though, I mean, Kenya Moore had one at like 50, but
yeah. Yep. So did Diana.
Yeah. And so that's kind of central to Candace and her storyline, along with Chris and his work coming up. So I know you love Candace.
I do.
Talk to us about Candace.
Why? I actually want to talk about Chris.
Oh, talk to us about Chris.
Candace deserves better. I think Chris is a loser. Sorry. Not because of like his career. I just think he has a bad fucking attitude, and I don't think I think maybe back when they first got together, like he was patient and like a good dude, but I think maybe he's letting the show get to his head, and I think he has an ego because she's more successful than him now, and I don't like the way that he talks to Candace.
And I mentioned this to you, I think so maybe we have talked about Potomac before.
We did, yeah. Like I think we came in like mid-season, yeah, or end.
Because I was like, Chris always has a drink in his hand.
Yes, and I was thinking about that because they talked about him being drunk at the reunion in the second episode.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, I'm not gonna call anybody anything, but I've been noticing it for a while that there's a pattern there.
I just don't know that they're gonna last the long haul. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It wouldn't surprise me. However, it does seem like later in episode 2, Candace is here to defend her man, and we'll see how that goes. But we'll get to that. So next, I think we can probably get to the party, right? Are we missing out on anyone? We didn't get like too much of an update from Robin per se, but
other than they don't have a wedding date. Well, we did see Charisse.
Yes,
Charisse. And she did say, Robin said that Charisse is the real Grand Dame of Potomac.
Because Robin's known Charisse longer than everybody. She knows Giselle through Charisse, and she's really the one who connects people.
I think Charisse has always had that reputation as like being very well connected socially. Mm-hmm. Even I like remember back in the earlier seasons, Charisse was like the one that was very connected.
Yeah. No, I remember that too. Dame. So there can only be one Grand Dame though. Can't have two of them.
I really like Charisse. I'm excited to see her back. She's going to stir it up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially because Karen doesn't want her.
Right.
And then we've got our party. And Giselle comes to the party to just fuck shit up.
She sure does. Sure does.
The first thing she does is calls out Ashley for buying a house with her husband, soon to be ex-husband. She thinks that Ashley is lying to her because she doesn't think it makes sense that Ashley is buying a house with her husband. And she thinks that like Ashley is kind of using divorce as leverage to get what she wants, because it seems like Michael Darby wants to stay in his like penthouse apartment in the city. Mm-hmm. Ashley wants a house with a yard for her kids.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's probably the truth.
I mean, if it's Michael Darby, do what you got to do.
Truly. I'm not judging. Like, take the guy's money, whatever you have to do. Exactly. Any means necessary. Take his money if you need to. If you need to stay married, whatever. Have an open relationship, whatever you have to do.
Mm-hmm. In that process, she tells people that Robin is the only person who has the name on the house, which Robin calls Giselle out for later. Good on Robin for addressing that. That's why I love Robin. And we also have Giselle talking to Giselle talking to Mia about the posts about possibly having cancer, and the way she did it was kind of strange and not tactful, I guess.
No, not at all. Not at all. She just like walked up to me and she's like, "Oh, is this what cancer, not cancer looks like?" It's like, whoa, you really fucking came in hot. You really came in hot. Like really hot.
Imagine having to defend yourself in that.
I'd be like, what? Like, is that really what you
Yeah.
just said to me? What? We also saw Wendy try and go up and hug Giselle, which was my favorite moment of the whole episode, I think. And Giselle was like, don't touch me. And she's like, oh, we're just coming. She's like, no, we're not hugging. We're not hugging.
And that's what I appreciate about Giselle.
Me
like,
too. I love Giselle.
We're not good. I'm not going to sit here and pretend we're good because we're on a TV show. Like, no.
No.
Not about that life.
I love these Potomac women so much.
Absolutely.
Every one of them. Good. Except Mia. I don't really care about Mia that much.
Yeah. I like Wendy a lot. I wish we got a little bit more Wendy. I think it's just like hard being on the outside of such a strong core of women who've been together for so long. But I hope we get a little bit more Wendy.
Wendy made me really laugh in the second episode, but it was like during this fight with Mia, where Mia's friend started chiming in, and Wendy was like, I'm sorry, who are you? Like, and she was like, I was like, who's speaking? Like, who's speaking right now? I didn't know who was talking. I was like, that was actually really funny. I don't mean to be rude, but like, who are you?
Yeah. Start us off with the second episode, because again, I'm hearing weird noises from the hallway, and I just don't trust Nitro right now. So
yeah, no,
I'm listening. I can hear you. Yes. I just will not be able to talk.
Yes. No, take care of Nitro. Yeah, no, we ended the first episode where Mia is pretty much just like, well, fuck you. Like, if you're going to really question me, I used my social media as an outlet because I was hurting. So if you're going to question me, then like, fuck you. And that's where the first episode ended. And the second episode kind of picked right back up in that section. And I guess Mia's friend, Jacqueline, is going to be a friend of. And apparently there's a lot of drama with Jacqueline already on the internet with like Wendy and Jacqueline going after each other about like domestic violence, something gross, something inappropriate.
Saw that.
Yeah. And the cast is coming to Jacqueline's side for the most part.
Yeah.
From what I've seen. So, but yeah.
So we don't get like much resolution from this like argument, conversation, conflict here, right? They kind of just like part ways.
Right. Pretty much.
And in the conversation that Robin and Giselle have soon after, Robin's like, listen, I got to talk to you about things. Let's talk about what's going on. But first I have a bone to pick with you. Kindly fuck you for telling everybody about the house. Like, you didn't need to do that. Mm-hmm. And there was a second bone she had to pick, didn't she? I can't remember.
I think there was just the one bone, but then she started talking about, the Mia stuff, and And
she's like, you need to talk to Mia. You need to send her a text message because you did not do that correctly. That was not very nice. Yeah. And Giselle was like, really? Okay, I guess I could see that.
Yeah, but Giselle was like, I don't want to be in a bad place with Mia. Mm-hmm. But she was so proud of herself for sending a text message. She was like, see, this is good. This was good. It was very fun.
Look at him growing. And then they talked about the Ashley stuff as well and just calling that out. But then they started talking about Chris.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about this. Even though I just slandered Chris. I don't love this from Giselle.
No, I don't like this. This is not comfortable. This is not comfy. I don't know. And I think Candace is like spot on in a way. So, but we'll get there. So I guess what happened is we hear Ashley tell this story to her friend.
To Robin. Well, she started telling it to Robin.
Well, no, I thought she told it to the one in, that came over to like play with the kid with her.
Oh, I thought we saw it in a flashback to Robin, but maybe
then
both.
Robin.
Oh, okay.
I think that's how it happened. I could be wrong though. Again, I watched 4 episodes of Housewives.
No, you
today.
are probably right.
So she told her friend, like, yeah, we were out after Karen's party and I put up an Instagram story and Chris replied saying like, oh, you should have come to the W. Where he works.
2:48 or something in the morning.
Yeah, 2:48 in the morning. And she's like, I thought that's a little weird. And then she also told Robin in like a lunch that we didn't see.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Robin tells Giselle about this.
Mm-hmm.
And Giselle's like, oh, well, Robin's team Chris. Robin is
Robin is like, it's not weird. They're friends.
Yeah, they're friends. He replies to my stuff in my DMs,
Yeah.
like, and Giselle's like, yeah, he's been in my DMs too. It hasn't really ever been weird.
Before we talk about Giselle's reaction or whatever Giselle says, what's your opinion on this?
Oh, I think that it's dramatic as fuck. However, the only thing that Ashley said that makes sense is, listen, I know we're not in a good place and we're like becoming in a better place, Candace. So what if you go through Chris's phone and you see that and you see, and like, you know that I know, but I didn't say anything. I don't want it to be that way. That's the only thing that makes sense, but I still think it's a stretch because like, you're just replying to an Instagram story, and given if Ashley doesn't know that this is where he works and that's because like why he's still up at 2:40 something, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it wasn't any big deal. It didn't seem like any conversation. It'd be something if he's like, come on, are you coming? Like, where are you at? What are you doing? What after? He's just replying to like someone that he not only works with because like I'm as a fellow cast member, but I just thought it was blown out of proportion.
So I think you just can't leave anything open for interpretation. And this was very much open for interpretation. And if I ever saw in Matt's phone that he was messaging a girl that I know at 2:48 in the morning being like, should have came to W, I'd be like, what the fuck is this? Especially if like she didn't know. All you have to do is say like, come to the W next time I work there, I'll hook it up. Then it's like totally, oh, okay, he wants me to come, he works there, like he'll hook it up for us, whatever. That's one thing, but to just be like, should have came to the W with no like context at almost 3 a.m, that's a little sketch. Obviously, like it's probably fine, but I just feel like he left it way too open to be interpreted in another way. Where like, you got to be smarter than that, dude. If you want to just like be friendly, then just figure out a better way to word it where it doesn't sound like you're like, yo, you up?
Yeah. I get that. I definitely can see it both ways. I didn't
the Giselle part
dramatic.
I'm out. But this part, I'm like, yeah, it's a little sketchy. It could be. It could be.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of interpreted it the same way that Candace did, and maybe that's just like also in my experience with my boyfriend as a bartender and is
right.
I mean, like the way he makes money is by people coming in, and
the
way that he's going to continue to make more money is when like people come in, and so that like it didn't really strike me as anything, especially because we had the knowledge of he's the GM at this like type of place. So when I read it, I was just like, oh.
And that's what Robin went immediately. She's like, oh no, he's like the GM there. Like and then it's like, oh, that's different. But Ashley obviously didn't realize that, which is why Chris could just like add one more sentence and be like, oh, I work at the W. Come through next time and I'll give you whatever.
Yeah. I can understand. I also think that when Ashley brought it to Candace handled it very well.
Oh, yes.
And,
well. And I think Ashley did too.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't like dramatic. And I loved how she was like, I'm not doing what I would love to do, which would be do this in front of everybody, but I'm doing it one-on-one. Like, look at me, I'm growing. But I still like that she brought to her. I liked Candace's reaction. And yeah, I took it in the same way as Candace, but I can understand the opposite side of being like, that's a little weird.
Giselle, though, took it and ran.
Yeah. For Giselle's next thing where she's like, well, yeah, actually, I've had a situation where I've been uncomfortable with him, and he was drunk at the reunion, and he's like talking to me in the hallway, and he's like, hey, can we go into your room? I need to have a word with you. And Giselle said that she said yes because she figured her glam team was in there, but her glam team was not there. She also just had Carmex, and Chris goes in, and apparently it's just kind of like, I don't know if he was complaining about Candace, but like talking to her about Candace. But Giselle said that she felt very inappropriate. She wanted nothing. She does not want to be seen in any sort of light that could be seen like cheating, and just was not comfortable with the situation, that Chris made her feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, and when I first heard the story, it sounded to me, because like, you know, when we watch the reunions and they have like their little dressing room things,
Yeah.
and that's where like they're getting ready, that's the room I thought that she was referring to. But later, it sounded like she was referring to a hotel room,
Yeah.
and that I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. Like, you're in a hotel room with a dude with closed doors, but like, as everybody else has said, as Robin has said, as Candace has said, they are friends. Like, he considers them like sisters. Like, they're all very close. And we see that they have a very playful, like, fun relationship. I don't think
Yeah.
Chris would have ever crossed that line with Giselle personally. But I mean, I don't know these people. Who the fuck am I? But it just seems like, based on what we've seen of their relationship, it doesn't seem like that would have been what it is.
I mean, for his own sake and sanity, why would he, even if he is out here in the DMs of people, and I'm not accusing him of that, why do it with one of the cast members that Candace is on the show with?
Right.
Because, you know, I mean, she like threw a butter knife at someone already. Like, she's to bring that upon Candace, to bring that upon yourself, like you don't need that in your life.
Right.
And he's smart enough to know that. So
And he's also smart enough to know that it would come out.
yeah, absolutely.
So like, why would you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm team Robin and Chris in all this. Robin being like, he's our friend. And I'm team Chris, where Chris hasn't even like been a part of it yet. And I'm team Candace in this. I'm team Robin, Chris, and Candace.
I don't think I'm team Chris, because I just have a feeling he's going to be a fucking asshole about this moving forward. And like, I just don't love the way that he like speaks to people. But I'm team Candace, because like, Candace immediately, when Giselle started this, she was fine with Ashley. But as soon as Giselle brought this up and it was a stretch from Giselle, she's like, oh, I see what the fuck's going on here. And then she's like, nope, I'm not doing this. If like if this season, basically she's saying like, if the storyline is this season is going to be like trashing my husband, like I'm not doing this. Like this is not happening. And I don't blame her.
No, that was the exact thing that so earlier in the day, Katie and I were talking about like what we should cover, because I didn't know how much I would watch, and she was like, oh, I didn't watch the last episode of Potomac. I'm like, we don't have to cover it, but I think you should, because like,
Yeah,
your girl's got some shit going on, and
I
I think you're gonna want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought Candace's reaction was perfect in this, because she's been around long enough to get it. Like,
oh, I see what we're doing
what's
here.
happening.
Yeah,
got it. Because Giselle will drive the storylines. I mean, she's already created 2 this season, between continuing to call out Ashley for the house within the divorce, and Candace, I mean, not Candace, Mia's cancer, not cancer, but
Giselle's really doing a lot these first 2 episodes.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't even really like put all of those things together, but like, she's talking about Chris, she's talking about Mia, and she's talking about Ashley in the house. Like, there's a lot happening here.
A ton. And so yeah, I don't necessarily have team Chris. Like, I'm team defend Chris right now. Defend Chris's current actions right now. I don't think he's done anything wrong. Like, is everything like an A+ decision in what he's done? No, but there's nothing that's below like a B-. Like, no quiz corrections need to be done on this. It's just people needing to like, okay, pause. This is one of your friend's husbands who you've known, who you have broken bread with. Does he have any history of doing weird shit like this? And Candace says this, like, listen, you've got Michael Darby to pin this on. He's the real creep.
Right.
Go after him, which I fucking loved, by the way.
Yeah, that was great. And then you just like see Ashley. I don't know if they're like actually an earshot of each other, but like they make it seem like Ashley's like, what is happening?
Yeah. What, Michael Darby? Huh? And that's where the episode ends. I feel like we went quickly through episode 2, but like getting to that end,
that was
point
the meat.
There was one funny part, and I can't remember what it was, when they went to like 5 of them in confessionals, like all making fun of the same thing.
Oh, was it Karen's speech?
Oh, yes, it was Karen's speech.
Yes.
Her speech at her
Karen
party.
I can't with Karen. She kills me. She truly makes me laugh so hard.
When she was like, the Grand Dame is back. Where'd you go?
And they're like, where'd you go? Yeah, that was great. My other favorite Karen moment was when Katie was like rubbing Ray's head and like grabbing his ass, and she mimicked the way that Ray was laughing. She's like, Ray was like, hee. And I was dying at Karen in her confessional. She was so funny.
Karen is kind of getting caught up in trying to talk shit, but also be the peacer and getting a little exposed. That came up with, she sent Mia a text the day before her party being like, listen, just so you know, some of the girls are talking about like the post that you put up. Just want you to know that before you get here. And then trying to make it seem like she wasn't talking shit as well.
Yeah, which I love that Robin was like, no, what we're not going to do is pretend that it's Giselle and Robin, because every single one of you said you also thought it was weird. So like it was everyone.
That's why Robin's the best.
Yeah, I love Robin. She's great.
And I guess another Karen thing is that she's going to get her breasts augmented, might be the best way to put it. Refreshed, it might be a way to put it.
Refreshed.
And
she's
Ray's not happy about
fat deposits or something from her arms.
Yeah, I don't know how that stuff works. So
me neither.
But yeah, that might come up a few more times since Ray come up. But yeah, we're gonna have a little bit of drama coming up because seems like people are coming after Chris.
Did you catch Ray's Joe Biden mug? I
No.
rewound. He was drinking when they were drinking when they were in their house talking about like the breast augmentation and like the tennis racket or whatever. He was drinking from a coffee mug, and I saw Joe Biden's face on it with sunglasses, and it said something, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And I thought it was a We Did It Joe mug, but it wasn't. It said Cup of Joe with the Joe Biden logo and his face with aviator sunglasses on. And I was like, this is wild. But good to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, I think I've said what I wanted to. I really like, because it just happened at the end, was so hyper focused on the Chris and Candace stuff that
was like
it's hard to remember a lot of the other things. Yeah.
I did send you a text message. I'll read it. Saying, I'm watching now. How upset will you be if I talk about how ugly Ashley's kids are for at least 5 minutes? I don't feel the need to like fully go deep into how ugly Ashley's kids are, because that's really mean. I mean, it's mean. I'm talking about literal babies. But I'm just going to leave it there. I mean, you guys know my feelings now. I'm just saying. They're not cute. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I know I see it in the chat is saying, wow, they look like Michael. Ashley is beautiful. She is gorgeous. She's gorgeous. Those kids are not. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry if it offends you that I'm talking about how ugly babies are. They'll grow into it. Ugly babies often, though, make very attractive adults.
I know nothing about any of this. I told Katie, I literally don't even notice the children. I ignore children at all costs.
Kari said, I don't even notice them. And I said, I'm jealous. Because that's how uncomfortable our kids make me. Because they look so much like Michael. That's why. I'm just like, damn, poor Ashley is so beautiful. So beautiful. One of the most beautiful housewives, I think.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And then she has kids with this guy who's just like fucking Gollum. And then like your kids look more like him than you, and you have these great beautiful genes, and then your kids like inherit mostly his genes. Like, that's so unfortunate. You have to take those things in consideration. I'm sorry.
So I'm not having kids. I don't have to worry about having ugly ones.
You wouldn't have ugly kids.
I mean, I don't have to worry about figuring it out, which is great.
That's true. No, true. But like, I'm sorry. I feel guilty. But like, I'm sorry. Did I cross a line? I don't know. Kids are off limits, I know, but they're not like people I know.
You did give them potential you gave them like ugly duckling potential, you know, like
yeah, like exactly, swan. Like ugly duckling grows up into being a beautiful swan. That's like, you know, kids that are not cute. Not every kid is cute, first of all. Oh, this is also what I want to say, and I feel like we've maybe talked about this before. But like, I don't need to see pictures of your kids with food on their faces. Like, that's only cute to you, the parent. That grosses me out. So I was already thinking like, I do not find these kids cute. Quite the opposite, clearly. And then we saw like them all have food on their faces, and I was like, oh, this is like crossing a line. Like, I need to be able to like, you should blur this out. That's how I felt.
Yeah, I literally remember like none of this. I just don't.
Oh, I really clearly was like, oh God, I was taken aback. It's me. I'm the problem. I'm sorry. I apologize. Ashley, if you ever hear this, I'm really sorry. Your kids are going to grow up and be gorgeous, just like you.
That's the goal.
But like
That's the goal.
PSA, don't mate with someone that looks like Michael Darby. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not the kid's fault. It's Michael Darby's fault. Okay.
I don't disagree with that last part. Definitely.
I'm sure they'll be great and successful and great people. That's all that matters, right? Looks don't matter. They don't.
No.
They really don't.
No.
They
Personality.
don't. Mm-hmm.
It'll be fine.
Just be like a good contributing member of society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Matters.
You don't have to be Instagram influencers. Not everyone has to be.
No. And you can't be like, you don't have to even be attractive to be an Instagram influencer.
Nope. Kind of. There's Photoshop.
They'll figure it out. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. They're gonna be great. They're gonna be really cute. They're cute. They're cute kids, okay? They're really cute. They're great. They're great kids. I take it all back. I take it all back.
We've done a 180.
I take it all back. I take it all back. I take it all back.
All right, Katie, before you get us both canceled by anybody who has a child.
No, I'm not saying all children. Although I am saying I don't want to see pictures of your kids with food on their faces. That is a blanket statement. Only QT.
I don't want to see
save those pictures.
Pictures of your baby. Like, newborns, gross. There might as well be aliens.
See? It's not just me, you guys. It's not just me.
No, I am very actively anti anything shorter than me. And I'm 4'10". So
nice shorter than you.
Yeah, but he's a dog. Like, if you are a human and shorter than me, politely get the fuck out. I had one student in 11 years. Actually, she was during my teaching, so 12 years of teaching that was showing me, and she was the I before E except after C rule. Like, she was the after C. Brianna, she was amazing. And otherwise, I never had to deal with a student who was shorter than me. And I liked it that way. Because at that point, you're at least like, you should be able to comprehend sarcasm or like wit and banter. And I need that. But no, if you're short, kids aren't cute to me. Baby, like toddlers, babies. Oh, nope, not for me.
Yeah, but anyway, no, clearly not for me either. Especially if you're Michael Darby's child.
Us haggard millennials not having kids. We're the worst.
So dramatic of us, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
And Andy Cohen.
Fucking haters. Katie, what are you doing online these days?
Oh, God. I don't know. Don't even follow me. I'm a monster. I don't deserve anybody's follow. I feel very guilty. Once I said it out loud, I was like, oh, this is like I'm saying a lot of really mean things about literal babies, toddlers. I don't know. I'm not going to publicly slander kids anymore, but if you do want to follow me, you can follow me at RealSlimKatie on Twitter, or you can follow me on Twitch at RealSlimKatie. I'm sorry. That's not it. At twitch.tv/RealSlimKatie with an underscore at the end. I promise you I will not be slandering children. Unless there's like a game that I'm playing that requires it, then maybe I might. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Otherwise, you can find me here on Silent Podcast talking more things about children and lineage on House of the Dragon, which I was just going to bring up a House of the Dragon reference, but like you don't watch it, so I didn't.
I won't get it. Sorry.
Yeah. You can also hear us talking about all things Andor, the new Star Wars series on Disney Plus. Myself and Naomi on I think maybe Thursday we're going to be recording. We'll see on the High Ground, and obviously you and I are talking about all things The Challenge, TJ Hates Quitters, which was a pleasant surprise this first episode. So we'll see how episode 2 goes, and then here, and I think that's it.
Nice. I will continue to slander children on my social media, so if Katie didn't enough, follow me.
I am not the only monster. Oh, hi, Nitro.
So he goes a little crazy when that happens. But yeah, KGD26, follow. You can see me tweet about people reminding me that I am white. You know, just the works. So if you want to listen to more things that I am doing on Silent Podcast, I love that. So like Katie mentioned, we just recorded TJ Hates Quitters, which I realized while we were recording that I did not upload it in podcast form. So I'll do that for you guys tonight or tomorrow. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's fine. I'll put it up tonight or tomorrow. I was like, did I upload that? I downloaded it by... Oh, I know why. Like, you know how I told you it does that freezing thing on me sometimes? Yeah. So I attempted to, it froze, and that was what happened. So I tried, but was shut down. And then I knew you were out. So I was like, oh, I'll just do it later, and just never did it later. So I'll take care of it.
Whatever.
But there's that, and then I co-host our mole coverage podcast with JD, and I am biased, but I think we're fucking killing it. We've had great guests. I can tell you with certainty. Sorry, my dog is now biting. Like he does this little nibble thing. You see him? Like it doesn't hurt, but it's like not also comfortable. So Nitro, I'll give it back to you. Just come here. Okay. So he wants to fight. Oh my God, Kari, get your fucking act together. So the mole. I think we're doing a great job. We cover every single episode individually, except for episodes 1 and 2. All of it is on both our podcast platforms and YouTube. The final 2 episodes come out on Friday. We will cover those. I just think we're doing a great job. I think
you are doing a great job.
Fun. I think we're the only place doing episode by episode coverage, and we're really like going in depth thinking about it. We're cracking jokes, having a good time, but also giving you like legit things to think about. And I can promise you that we are going to have at least 2 of 12 cast members on for interviews after the season, and hopefully more. But we have 2 in the works, more hopefully on the way, and I think there'll be people you want to hear from. So definitely check out our mole coverage. It's called Tiny Bubbles. I would appreciate it.
It's great.
Yeah, Katie was on there. We've had guests for almost everything except for the first and second episode, but it's just been good. It's been good. I'm very happy with it. Very proud. Especially because I just like threw JD into the internet world. I'm like, come podcast.
Yeah, JD's been great.
Mm-hmm. If you aren't following us on YouTube or Twitch, you should. So search Silent Podcast and subscribe. You can also on Twitter, silent_podcast, where we tweet about things like what we're podcasting about. In addition, you can listen to us in podcast form, Apple, Spotify, the works. But subscribe, rate us 5 stars, leave us a little message. If it's not 5 stars, and don't rate us. We don't want anything less than 5. Mm-hmm. So wait for another episode and give us 5 stars then when we deserve it. But in conclusion, thanks for listening. I'm White, Katie hates kids, and we'll catch you later.
Oh my God. What a sign off.
Bye. See you next time.